hitting the button right
site.
now, so be sure not to say nothing about any secrets or anything.
Secrets are no fun unless you are a part of one.
Unless you are a part of one.
I
think
hate
we're,
that you said that.
Oh, dang.
hey, let me know when we're live here.
Can't
Just
talk
gotta
about
make sure.
We're live now.
We're live now. Okay, this is perfect. Hey, what's going on, guys? Dealer here, back again with yet another RDX podcast. We've got the usual amazing panel, as well as a fantastic guest, Ricard, one of the best podcasters in the world. That's a fact. Again, thanks for joining us early. If you're here, hit the like button, show a buddy or two, and of course, we've got a ton. I mean, seriously, this is the most stacked set of topics we've had in quite some time, probably years, actually. So there's a lot going on, guys. Thanks for joining us. And you make us what we are, seriously. Colt Eastwood, another week, another show. Let's get into it, huh?
Yeah, if we've got a whole stack of stuff, then give me the third item.
Give me the third item.
That'll be good.
Give me the Thoid item.
The Thoid.
We've also got Ricari Austin. Thanks for jumping in here, brother. Formerly of Xbox. I mean, seriously, it's a pleasure.
Absolutely glad to do it. I quite enjoy it. So I'm appreciative of the Discord message all of 5 minutes ago, and I'm glad we can make it work.
You know what? That takes skill. We've also got the grounded gamer, Fonzo Early. How you been, brother?
Good. And I'm here today to speak as a consumer. That may trigger people. I just want to put that out there.
Okay, perfect. We've also got Tim Dog. How you been, man?
What's going on? Happy to be here. Lots to talk about. Let's go.
Yeah, Mr. 18 million. Hey, we also got Zalker 87. What's going on, little brother? Little brother?
Huh, little brother. I don't know. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, doing good, man. Glad to be here. There is a lot of topics. When you sent them today, man, I was like, holy cow. I was like, there is a lot to talk about. So I'm excited for this, and everybody in chat, we're glad you're here with us.
Yes, of course. We've also seriously got to thank everybody in the chat. We don't always get to shout everyone out. Obviously, the chat's massive, but we try, and thank you guys for what you do. Let me do some Patreon shout-outs real quick. We'll get into the first topic, which is a doozy, and we got a lot today. So first and foremost, we've got Achievement. A shout-out to him for becoming a patron. We've also got Blitzkrieg, Grunt, Zoraden, Dr. Vortex, Game Genie Prime, Slim 73, Pink Orcbot, Costanza, Wayne, Scout Trooper 74, KY Bob, Wakanda XNT, that's Xbox News on Twitter, Goose 8402, DT Baggins, Straw Hat Khalifa, Bad Boy Live, Assassin, Lupa, Foreign Object. I feel like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna find a different way to organize these. Gab Quisteo, John Blue, Vec Boss, Deviator X, Real Teal Neil, shout out to you guys, Suicide King as well, Tasteless Genie, Michael Bowen, Guillermo Cavillo, All Might, AJ Hutton, Gaz, and Dark CMF. Okay. What do you guys think we should actually start on? I mean, I don't know if we want to start on, do
it. I got family at home.
All right, Ricari Austin. Keep in mind, Ricari you saw this guy on Inside Xbox. You saw him next to Phil and all these guys. He worked there. And since he's left, Xbox has made one of the more stupid decisions they've made in a while. And again, we're not going to harp on this forever, but Xbox tried to double the price of Xbox Live during the pandemic, and I just Ricari, why?
That's the great question to ask, and I implore anybody who ever sees the decisions that anybody makes to always ask why and what are they trying to get at. I honestly don't know why, especially because they released their numbers. What was it, this morning, as a matter of fact? And they've talked about all the money that they've made from Game Pass and whatnot. I honestly think two things. One, yes, it's a play to slowly phase out gold, but two, more importantly, that there was a disconnect between the likes of what would be an Aaron Greenberg and Will Tuttle. Will Tuttle is usually the guy that presses publish on news.xbox.com. He's kind of that head of publications, but that's his baby. And Greenberg obviously being a big up at marketing. And whoever this Xbox Live Gold team is, I don't necessarily think it was malicious intent. I think it was somebody with a degree saying this is how we should do things because A plus B equals C, and that's how everyone always does them.
Yep.
And now A plus B equals don't listen to me for that guy now.
Yeah, and to be fair, that was my job, right? My whole bit was community management and telling people on the marketing side and people on the game development side, like, this is why you can't say this shit because this is what the community is going to think and this is how they're going to react. And I think that last bit never really fully happened with something as big as Xbox Live.
I heard Xbox Live staff people were really pissed off about this. So I wonder if they heard about it just before we all did.
Yeah, so
What do
this
you
is
think?
like
I don't
right
believe
from the
that.
top or what?
Like it's like
I don't believe that.
Batman. Did you get the memo? It's like what?
How does
Bitch.
So
how does
Fonz really
certain
doesn't
key
believe
people-
that it was like a last minute kind of top down thing. What do you think happened, Fonz?
I think this is definitely premeditated. This is something that they've been looking at doing for quite some time. They probably have been looking at different avenues on trying to make more revenue, and this just doesn't happen overnight, in my opinion. And to say that certain key people within Xbox didn't know anything about it until last minute or something, it just doesn't fly with me.
There's
I
10,000
thank them
people
for-
there. Whether it flies
I
with you or
thank them-
not, that's the beast.
Yep.
Yeah, but I thank them for reversing this thing. But at the same time, I think the biggest question is, who is that guy that did this? Who is the guy that said that was in that boardroom and said, "Excuse me, what if we just double the price of gold, double the price of something that the majority of Xbox users utilize and use, and try to, in my opinion, force them into Game Pass?" And that just doesn't work. You can't force people to buy into something that they just don't want right now. You have to entice them to do so. And that's just my thoughts on it. I really think that that whoever it was, now we know that there was somebody who was feeling this way, and we kind of have to sleep with one eye open, because somewhere down the line, this guy's going to get some other bright idea. And yeah, we have to stay vigilant as gamers for sure. I look at this as a consumer. I don't look at this as, I'm a wannabe employee of Microsoft. I look at this as just a straight up consumer gamer. This was ridiculous, especially in this time of, pandemic and all that. But that aside, just the fact that they tried to double the price was insane to me. Just
I also
insane.
think that Xbox can't hike the price on something for a year or two. They have to let that fire that they had to put out like that entire day. That was a messy thing for them, and they deserve it. And hopefully for us, that means they won't be hiking up anything for a year or two while they let that kind of cool off.
And also,
Let
they
me
shouldn't
get a
use the
few.
fact that they hadn't hiked anything up as the reason for doing it.
Yeah. Let me
That
get a
pissed
few
me off in the
comments from the community here. SGT Rake, basically, he said the Major Nelson Rubenstein podcast was awkward after the announcement. I have to go check that out. Honestly, I can only imagine. Maybe they didn't even know, or maybe they only do certain things. Greg E3 Egg, he says he's sure that it was planned all along. It is hard to imagine something like this just popping out of nowhere. But when Colt says that people are saying that they didn't know, and it's definitely a thing. And I think that they probably hid this from a lot of people. For one, to keep it from leaking, right? And secondly, because they knew they were going to get drop kicked in the face. At the end of the day, what really matters, and I want to harp on this. I think it's incredibly stupid that they thought this would just go well. But they did reverse this. I do want to talk on that.
That they have basically been dancing around certain things when it comes to the future of gold, the future of game prices and all that stuff. And the fact remains that their business, they're heading into, basically they're looking at expanding on Game Pass. That's their number one priority. And I get that, but you can't force this. You got to entice people with great, compelling games within Game Pass, and those are coming, I'm sure. But when those do come, you'll get more and more people into Game Pass. This was not the way to do it, and I really think that that's what they were going for here. Let's up that price of gold.
I actually think that it is very contrary to what Phil has been saying for the past 2.5-3 years.
It is.
He has really talked about options. He's talked about options and all that. And then for that's why it's almost as if I'm like, was Phil even a part of this decision? Like I know he probably knew about it or something. Like it has to, right? Or something slipped up, because for them to come back on this, like 15 hours later and be like, we messed up. Like, sorry. Like, and Phil, you could tell, like, he said one thing about it, one tweet. And you could tell he was annoyed. Like that's irritation. So, and he apologized to us that we're going to learn from this. It makes me feel like he really didn't know. Like he saw this and was like, "What the f?"
He knows. I also think he had to approve it, but
you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised at how many things don't necessarily need to go all the way up the chain. They might get glanced over through meetings and whatnot. But
do you have any examples of that, Ricari?
Well, I can say this. While I don't have any direct examples, I do know that oftentimes these things that seem so malicious and this is going to sound horrible because I've worked with nothing but crazy intelligent people at Microsoft, just comes from somebody using data to justify their decision. Like it wasn't from the heart. They didn't understand. They weren't doing anything
Robot
bad.
logic.
It could have even just been, hey, well, people will see that this offering is close to this price, but this price gives them Game Pass. Let's do this.
Yeah,
And I'm
I
like, you
I
gotta
thought
think-
that a bean counter like ran the numbers and said, look, we'll push some people to Game Pass, but the money that we'll make from the extra gold increase will get us to our target at this time sooner than we thought, and then we can get rid of gold. And they're like, oh, that's very logical. And then no one ever said, aren't we in a global pandemic with people
Yeah.
losing their
Well,
jobs?
speaking of
Hey, hang on.
counters,
So basically,
and-
to recap what Ferrari just said, he's saying that they looked at the numbers. That we know that they are analytical, and they, to many people, were accidentally evil. Aaron, by the way, in the chat, and he is Aaron for one. Quotes are basically direct statements taken from people. He says they reversed it, so they are good, not bad. Yikes! Nobody said that.
No.
No,
You
no,
always
no.
have to have one eye open, especially when something like this comes along. And,
Yeah,
and
they're not
it-
your friends.
Yeah, they're a business. And yes, you have to look at data. That's what they do. But as consumers, we also have to look at data. And the data is out there. And we're going to get into that a little bit later, but about all the financials and stuff that's going on right now. But you got to be smart as consumers. I saw a lot of guys defending this, and it was just really ridiculous, the
No,
stuff they would come up with.
How bad was
you know.
how bad was the defense that day? Because I wasn't on Twitter.
It wasn't
Yeah,
as
there
bad
was.
as those that was out there that were, against this, but there were quite a bit of defenders that I was
What were
pretty
they
shocked.
saying?
Yeah, it
And
was
they were saying a lot of stuff that, just the basic corporate speak stuff.
Like,
Things
it's
increase in
35
price,
cents,
inflation.
35 cents a day. This is called
Yeah,
inflation.
it's only $1.
Well, for one, everyone can have their own opinion. I don't agree with it, but I'm not gonna, I'm gonna agree to disagree with those people.
Well, I gotta say,
I personally don't think it was a money grab though. I think they really wanted to push people towards
course.
Game Pass, and I think whoever thought of this idea, like they need to have their job reevaluated because it was a
No,
bone.
they fucked up. We'll just leave it at that. They'll
Yeah.
learn.
Yeah, well, it was pretty bad
Yeah,
because
so
like,
big time.
logic defied that. I don't know. I just don't know how logic.
Worse.
I
That
think
was
a
a team of
logical person
people.
can- Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I think what they said is let's make it so outrageous that everyone will be like, we're not going to pay for Xbox Live, and automatically they'll go to Game Pass, and they all probably had a little giggle over it. It was just a stupid decision, man.
I
And
think
you
the
know
one
what?
thing
That was a black eye, but the
Tim-
bruise is still lingering.
Hang on, let
what do you
Zucker
call it,
get in
Colt-
on this.
Well, the thing that Colt brought up was the pandemic. Now, the only thing I see in gaming is during this pandemic, the one company or the one industry that has almost been immune to this is gaming.
Yeah.
Gaming's actually more profitable than it's ever been. So I don't know if they even thought
Bingo.
look how well it's doing. Like Phil Spencer himself said that this past year, gaming jumped 3 to 5 years in market value because of the pandemic, because digital content is king, because that's everybody's home, right? So it got into a lot of gamers' hands. So the market has grown exponentially. So maybe they thought hey, it's growing, because remember, this was grandfathered in, right? Like if you already have Xbox Live, your price stays the same. But new people, that's where the money comes in. So maybe they saw this as a way of making way more money off of new gamers that, to be honest, don't know better.
Yeah,
I mean,
you-
you brought up a very good point, and what I actually wonder, and I go back to when I was younger and whatnot, I think, and I know I've talked about this with you guys a bunch, I think we're the niche group that has yearly subscriptions and we're grandfathered in, and I think a lot of people are on the monthly, $10 a month, even though it is that $120, because they only have to pay $10 a month. I don't know the numbers, but I'd be curious to see what the breakdown of 1 year recurring with a credit card on file subscribers are versus people that pay for 1, 3, or 6 month. What I think this all came down to was messaging. Like even if you break down the entire article, first of all, I'm going to tell you guys how to read an Xbox Wire article because you can tell if it's bullshit or not. When they say no or upcoming changes to Xbox Live Gold pricing, if it's something good, they celebrate it in the title. There's your first hint that it's going to be bullshit. The second one was that it was not by a person. Nobody has ever heard of the Xbox Live Gold team, right? Nobody. It usually says Aaron or whoever's coming at, because they're proud of what they're saying. Then they started it out by trying to butter you up and telling you how much Xbox Live has been, what it's done, then how much it's grown, than what they offer to you. And then they told you about the price hike. Anyway, my point is that this was all about shitty messaging, and I don't disagree with them raising prices in a sense. The way in which they went about it was just absolutely horrendous. And again, I say that as somebody who's been through CMPR type stuff. But that's what it comes down to is I think it's more so they're targeting the people that aren't us, the people that aren't grandfathered in, but people that are grandfathered in are going to have the most to say about it, even though it probably doesn't affect most of us.
I'm under the impression if you let your subscription lapse, or if you don't have it on automatic renewal, like if you I just ran out, I need to buy another year, another 6 months. Even if you've been with Xbox Live Gold for 70 billion years, I think your grandfather just privileges just went away.
Lethal has a good point in the comments too. I mean, he brings up the fact that PlayStation are charging you $70 for all their games now, and how a lot of the guys in the chat, right? Remember, we're not all going to agree on everything. Like I said, you like mayonnaise, I like ketchup. Who gives a fuck, right? Like, basically, if you're going to really ride those guys for damage controlling $70 games and thinking it's okay, which it's not because we know their books, you can't possibly be okay with this, a doubling of $60 more a year. Now, you can try to argue the semantics all day long, but when it comes down to it, it's not necessary. It's bad PR for them, as you found out. I'm getting tired of seeing bad PR. I'm getting tired of seeing these things happen. Yep. And that's why we're aggravated with it. I don't want to stay on this topic much longer because we all made videos.
I know.
But,
But do you know why I think it was a push for Game Pass? Because when they put out that article about them changing that price point, they never once said that they were adding to the service or doing any upgrades or doing anything cool or something that would justify that price point. It was just like, here you go, doubling the price for nothing.
I think they were going to add like a fourth game or something, or maybe like a fourth game I heard or something.
Notice they didn't mention games with gold, which should be celebrated because it came out in 2013, but they know their offering is shit, which lets you know they knew this article was shit. And yet they still pushed it out.
Savageness.
But yeah, it is kind of cool to be able to get together and talk about this together, though.
But even the grandfather thing, like I don't know if you guys like, I have very like friends that are very casual. Like even they were like texting me going like, "Hey, is this real?"
Right.
Like they were really like my brother-in-law. I love the guy, but he doesn't play a lot of games. He literally messaged me in the morning. He was like, "Hey, is this real or is this bullshit?" And I was like, "No, it's real." And he's like, "What the f?" And he was literally like, "Well, I'm not getting that." Like he was like, they lost him. Like. He was like, I'm not paying extra for that.
Oh, I saw so many people say, I'm not getting a Series X now. I'm done. I'll go PC or PS5 because I'm not going to pay double every year. And it's nothing to sneeze at. Like, I've been paying for gold for a long time, but now my kids all want a gold account, and I need 2 more accounts to get my entire family online with friends. And that's like $350 a year for my entire family. And that's a lot of money.
Yeah,
just to say I can play online.
Tim, let me get your take on this so we can move on. We'll get Tim, and then we'll get D, and then we'll move on to the next topic. We got a lot, some stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll make it quick. I personally think if they were going to do something like this, they should have offered a family plan and do it that way. The messaging was absolutely horrendous. Like Zorker said, people weren't understanding the grandfather thing either. Just because when you hear price, up, when everything's going, you tend to lose those little details. Everyone just hears $120. So they failed on that. From what was described to me by people at Microsoft, was unforced, self-inflicted. Things like this are really frustrating, and they were very upset. Like Ricari says, who knows who okayed this? I'm not calling for anybody's job, but you gotta be that guy in the room that says, that thinks like anybody on this panel that can kind of understand it. I do feel like Microsoft has some people that are kind of detached from that. They might be just, number counters, or they look at the spreadsheets and they say, oh, well, this and that. But you have to understand the way gamers are, the way we think. And, stuff like this is like the number one bugaboo. So overall, they avoided a huge crisis, but they still got a bruise here. And it was smart of them to announce the free-to-play, even though that was, the free-to-play paywalls down for free-to-play games now, just because that kind of was needed. but just just not smart, and you got to do better. And you also have to know, like, when people start bringing up the pandemic stuff, it's very true. People are struggling right now, and people have went to gaming, and now you feel you're getting screwed by a big corporation. Just not a good look. But they kind of handled it pretty smartly, even though it was a horrible mistake to begin with.
You don't reach 3 billion gamers by charging them double on your service.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add that there's like a lingering effect to this, because a couple of friends, I told them that the Xbox Series X was in stock, and they replied to me saying, "Oh no, I'm not getting that. They just doubled the price of Xbox Live." I was like, "No, they didn't double it. They did a 180 on it." And certain places like forums where people are looking for Series X's, I see people in there, "Oh no, they doubled the price. I don't think I'm gonna get a Series X now." When Series X, everyone was attracted to Game Pass with Series X. That was the big thing. Oh, get Series X, get Series S. It's a good value with Game Pass. So this kind of muddies the message up. And yeah, I don't think I can say anything more that anyone hasn't said already. It's just a really, really bad look, man.
Well, again, shout out to everybody in the chat. Seriously, even the ones complaining that you've heard about this before. Well, there's a lot of people that haven't. And two, we like to get together and have a group discussion, especially when we got Ricari here. The guy who's literally worked at Xbox forever. So, I mean, it's one of those things where it's all about perspective, and it's okay to disagree. Maybe some of you guys don't agree. It's fine. Let us know. I think you should still be allowed to not be stupid to each other because of that. So again, let us know your thoughts on the paywall doubling. And I think that Zalker's right, and this is something we had talked about. Gold and all this stuff, they need to get rid of that gate that holds people out of their games and their services, and doubling that paywall is not the answer. So there was something else, and that's why I said that in my video. I think they had another plan to go with this, but I don't know, just crazy they thought this would go okay.
At least they got rid of that paywall for free to play.
Yeah, free to play paywall. We've been talking about this for years, and it's gone.
Yeah.
It's great.
Gamers got rid of it. That backlash.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Gamers did it.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Gamers should recognize that you definitely have a voice. If you speak up, they will hear, because the bottom line is they want your dollars. So you gotta speak up. I think some other people, on the PlayStation eccentric guys, where they let something slip. Maybe if enough gamers spoke up about the price increase on Sony's games, maybe Sony would have did a 180 on their price increase. But don't be complacent. Don't take it. If you see something that's anti-consumer, even if it's a company that you love, make your voices known, man.
Yeah.
And this was a result of that. And look, paywall is gone, so something good came out of it.
It really is, man. That paywall has been something we've been laughing at for a while. And again, there were people back then, years ago, when we were talking about this, saying, "Well, I already have gold. I'm not affected." And it's like, well, think about someone else for a second, So it's the right thing to do. No one else really does that. So. Again, shout out to we're getting closer to 2,000 people watching live, guys. Hit that like button. If you haven't, maybe show a buddy or two, retweet it. We do appreciate it. Again, you make us one of the biggest Xbox podcasts in history. As I move the fuck on with these quarterly results, we've got some revenue numbers here, and I really, this is pretty impressive. But it also is a pandemic, and they've got some pretty massive numbers out there. Tim Dog, I want you to lead this one, and you can kind of go into the Game Pass numbers and all that. But gaming revenue up 51% for them. You've also got the services and the content grew by 40%, and Xbox hardware revenue up by 86% thanks to the Series consoles.
Yeah, also 18 million Game Pass subscribers.
Man.
And they say that the supply is going to be shorted till probably the end of the first quarter, I guess. So you're looking at April. So Amy said that today, that they expect the demand to not let up. Listen, you did this without Halo, and they were expecting Halo, and they also had shortages from AMD. There's a lot to be said here. It's just how far and how fast are they going to get ahead with this? When I was talking about previous shows, 2021 being a huge year from them, that was reiterated to me by people that are from Xbox, because they see this growth, and if this continues, and say they're at 30 million at the end of this year, I mean, you're at a point where you're dominating that subscription service, and who knows how far it could go. And that's why they are looking at more IPs. They are actually actively looking to buy publishers because the writing's on the wall with this, and they have the big boys, whether it be Satya and Amy, behind this, and this is just going to be more games, more studios, more push for Game Pass. And it's a good thing. I mean, people said the Game Pass will be the end of Xbox. The way it looks like, Game Pass is the reason why Xbox is doing the things that they're doing. If they didn't have
And the
Game
consoles
Pass,
are selling well. So
yeah, everything. The consoles, like I said, they expect shortages till the end of this quarter. So listen, it's just great numbers and kind of more than you would expect, especially with Halo. That was supposedly going to be the big push, and they did this all without Halo, all without a huge AAA games since I believe Gears 5, which is bad in a way, but it just goes to show you that this Game Pass is sustainable, on third party and smaller games as it is. And when we really start to get the games that we want, or the games that, allure people, I don't know. This is just, it's
going to grow huge.
It's going faster than expected, and it is a behemoth.
And it is profitable.
It should be over 30 million by the end of the year. I mean, we were talking what, 10, 15 million back in October.
Yeah.
And it's like now it's, or 10 million, right? In October.
You're growing 1 million a month.
Yeah, like 15 million in December, then now 18 million, and we're in the middle of January. It's like, that's insane.
Filler. Hey, I gotta read this comment because it's honestly Game Pass filler, right? That's what these guys say somehow.
Yeah.
I gotta read this comment from Jay Hoffa 22 because it brought a tear to my eye. He said, "This is the most I've commented in years. I've been a long time fanboys, and I rarely comment." He says, "Seriously, this is the best Xbox/gaming channel, period, man. Don't ever change." And he's basically, Jay Hoffa, thank you so much. He's basically saying that be you and don't change it, and kind of state your opinion and don't feel like you got to apologize for it. And I don't feel like most of us in the chat and most of us
and
on the
have
panel
Ricari on more often. He said that.
No,
too, right?
whoa.
No, he said, yeah, Ricari should definitely.
Hey, James is in chat talking about, I don't know why you bring this mother sucker back. All right, bet. I see how it
What are
is.
you talking about? Ricari's amazing.
He's a monster.
He's fantastic.
Hey, you got a $5 super chat from Jordan that says, "Do you guys believe the Game Pass is sustainable, profitable right now?" I see a lot of people on websites saying that it's bleeding and losing money.
Well, I mean,
Where did they get that from?
websites?
Like,
where are they getting that from?
did they just see the financials today?
Comic book
Come
app?
on.
Yeah,
XboxSucks.com.
XboxSucks.com.
Literally, this is what I don't understand about some gamers out here. The financial reports are usually available out there. You can read this stuff, look it up yourself, and see if a company is bleeding or not. It's just, it's that insane. I don't get it.
Well, let me give it 2 shout outs here real quick, 2 or 3. Tony Bryant, shout out to you for coming to the channel. Remember, I haven't gotten to any of these yet. Shout out to you, Tony. We've also got Swan981. He says, "Happy to be 2 of 18 million Game Pass subscribers, me and my son." Shout out to you. Hopefully you're enjoying it. And then we've got Paul, who says, "Hey, Colt, that Xbox Game Studios trailer you made today is badass. How long did it take you?"
Like 3 hours for 3 minutes.
That's pretty short, for a normal video.
Yeah, it's just a trailer, but yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. I'm just excited that Xbox said, "Hey, let's make some games." So yeah, I'm excited to celebrate what they're doing.
And speaking of like Game Pass and subscription, like Tim was saying, I think it is funny that they really didn't have that much stuff for launch. Let's be real. They didn't have a lot of first party games, and they're already at 18 million subscribers because I think, the first party games are there, but I also think third parties helped them a lot. And they've advertised it very well throughout the year in the summer and everything where they showed all those games. But mostly, like, you got to think about this, people. Like, we're going to get Halo Infinite, maybe Starfield. Like, do you not think Game Pass is going to jump exponentially when those games release on Game Pass? Like, that's the thing I look at. I look at that, and I look at the way trends of the markets go. Like, if you notice, like Warner Brothers Media, they don't care about theater releases anymore. All they care about is like HBO Max, like putting things on there. They just paid like $250 million for the Kong versus Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
Like, that's where it's all at. Like, they don't care no more. Like, if you're not on board, then don't make movies for us. And I think that's what people don't understand.
People join Game Pass and they just end up not leaving. There may be some people that cancel, but I think that there's such a value there that people say, yeah, I'm just keeping it. Obviously those numbers are growing that show that.
They just want to change the way you think about getting your games, right? So Nano Polymath also says 51 billion reasons why no one should ever underestimate Xbox. 18 million subscribers to yeah, that's a fact, brother. Definitely. And then we've got one more, the Itchu chat. I can't even read that. He says Xbox walked into a packed pre-COVID bar. Oh my god. Shit. Okay, I can't read this. Next. Okay, so yeah, I mean, when it comes down to the revenue stuff, Tim, how much better is this than maybe you expected, or maybe compared to some other very impressive quarterly results?
This is I think they even exceeded their expectations. I wouldn't say this type of stuff because of Halo. You know, you look at Halo and and you would think that was something that was needed, and they did this all without Halo. So like I said, this year is huge, not only from the console point of perspective, but you're going to be seeing a lot of TVs and maybe dongles and stuff like that. They're going to be pushing themselves way into the TV market with Game Pass and
we've been talking about
possibly
this
device. And this is the year. So 30 million, I think, is an easy get. And I think they're just trying to get so far ahead that you maybe get somebody like Sony to say, we did the $70 price thing, for games like Returnal, and some games that might not be AAA, Destruction All Stars, even though they put it into PlayStation Plus because they knew the deal was absolutely insane for $70 for a game like that. And they think that they can recoup they could recoup it by raising prices, where you have Microsoft saying, we're going to keep our games at 60 and Game Pass is the way to go. And, there's going to come a time where Sony stops in their tracks and says, we got to do something like this to get a revenue stream going. So, and if they see 30 million or they see 50 million in 2 years, they say, it's just too far gone. And that also goes for Amazon and Google. This is a play to probably, in my opinion, disenchant other, they want the cloud to themselves. They want gaming in the cloud to themselves. They want to be in your living room, on your phone, everywhere. And they are in well position right now. And when you get numbers like this, it's just the idea of Game Pass in 2017, the GameStop employee was telling you about the service and somebody didn't understand it. Now you're getting that soccer dad and soccer mom coming into the place saying, what about this Games Pass service? I heard I don't need no games. I just get that. And they say, yeah, you signed up. And guess what? Indiana Jones is coming and this game's coming. Halo's coming. Here you go. And then the guy walks out of the thing and tells the kid, yeah, you're good. You're good to go. It's cost me $15 and you don't have to bother me for $60 games. Goodbye.
Yeah, because the subscription service, like the business model, is already mainstream. It's like everybody knows what it is. So that's why Game Pass is killing it. And you are right. It is because of Amazon. It is because of Google. And it is because, a topic later, Tencent. Like, a lot of people don't understand that Google does want cloud to themselves. They want the gaming subscription service to themselves. If you think it's just first-party games they're after, you're sorely mistaken. They're going for big third-party deals. There's the rumor of Ubisoft Plus coming. EA Play's on there. Like, they're not messing around. And I know a lot of people are like, well, just first party can't do it. Well, they have like 35 teams making games for that's just first party. Imagine what they're looking at for third party like support, which a lot of the games coming this year, like, didn't they announce like over 30 plus games that are exclusive to Xbox coming to Game Pass? And some of those are pretty big games and pretty awesome looking games. So yeah, it's no joke. They're not messing around. They're trying to lock this down, and they're trying to get the most subscribers they can get on there.
Hey, there's this guy in the chat, Bambin Gamer, said, I'd rather pay $70 for Sony Interactive Entertainment and PlayStation Studios for high-quality first-party titles over paying less for extremely buggy and broken multi-platform games. Congratulations, you played yourself because you made yourself look like a corporate slave. And second of all, you only play 2 games a year then? It's kind of weird. Not much of a gamer there, buddy.
Hey, what? I mean, He could have done.
He said he'd rather pay
could have bodied
$70
this
for
guy
Sony
by
games
telling him
than play
Battletoads got a higher
multi-platform
Metascore than
games.
Days Gone. I mean, shit. Anyway, yeah.
It's weird. These guys. Are weird.
No, I mean, I like Days Gone, but still, it's kind of crazy how they don't use that logic when certain things happen. Again, guys, almost 2,000 watching live. Guys, hit the like button if you haven't. Share with a buddy or two. We really appreciate it. Because I want to move forward on the topics, because this stuff's crazy, right? And there's a lot of opinions. A lot of people are angry, and they're a little sensitive about this kind of stuff. But it is what it is. We did the right thing, and Microsoft did the right thing as a result, in my opinion. I wish Ricari would tell us exactly why. I know he knows. I know he knows all the answers.
I don't know.
I know he doesn't. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
I don't know.
I don't know. Well, I mean, do you know why Digital Foundry are now saying they're hearing the tools for the Series X are improving and that the performance is getting better? Do you know why that's happening, or is that still made up thing?
Because people are still working on the console.
Wow.
They have shipped.
Timing. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Over time, you get better at it, and tools get better, and you figure out new things to do with the hardware and the tech, and that's about it.
Yeah, and then you get the guys to say, well, the PlayStation will come along too. Yes, everything will come along, but one was already much further along than the other, and that's the point, right? So that's another thing. Colt, Alex from Digital Foundry saying that they are hearing that the tools that people make fun of, right? He even references. You can make fun of it all you want. You can say it's damage control all you want, but they said that they are hearing that the box is getting more performant.
Yeah, I mean, I can put this in a pretty short statement that yes, the PS5 will come along as they get better with the tools and games get better and more advanced, but Xbox is already more powerful and more capable in every way. The RDNA 2 features are more advanced and have more performance potential. So as the developers get more time with the PS5 and the Xbox Series consoles, it'll just keep growing how much better the Xbox is in multiplats over the PlayStation. Yeah. That's just a fact. It's just how it is. You just have to remember that devs got into the launch window with cross-gen games on a GDK that was brand new. The PlayStation dev kit was what they were totally familiar with, and what you're seeing is a like for like, and that is starting to change.
Yeah. I just want to add to that the DX12 stuff that's inside the Xbox Series X, all the RDNA 2 features. The GPUs on the PC side, it just came out. So you just got the RTX 3080 that supports DX12 Ultimate. You got the 6800, 6800 XT, the cards from AMD that support it. But like I said, they just came out, and these cards are not readily available right now. It's really hard to find these cards. So now once the developers start making games, for the PC as well as the console, you're going to see the benefits of having that those features inside of the Series X. You're going to see them play out in multi-plat games. You're going to see some games where the frame rate is higher. You're going to see some games where the resolution is higher, or you get a better overall image quality. Hitman just came out, and it runs better on the Series X than it does on the PlayStation 5. And it's not even a true full-fledged next-generation game, much less the games that come that will use, VRS Tier 2.0 and all the other features of RDNA 2. So I can't wait. It's an exciting time. The tools are definitely going to get better.
But I was told that Hitman 3 was a one-off.
Yeah, okay. You know what? Honestly, I that's why I've been really quiet when I see a lot of guys talking about this stuff. It's because these systems are brand new. We know for a fact that the Xbox Series X is not using all of its tools, that developers are still wrapping their head around it, that their kits came a little bit later than Sony, because according to all the reports, Sony was going to come out a little bit earlier than the Series X, and plans got changed. So it has more mature tools. And the Series X, like I said, it has RDNA 2 features that just made it onto PC, and these cards, you can't even find it yet, really. And developers aren't really honing in on all those features.
Dude, what do you think about Failed Pyromancer's comment? He says Digital Foundry have no credibility, though.
Yeah, okay, come on. Let's like, what are we doing here? Come on.
Sorry, Failed. I had to do that to you. I know what you're trying to do.
It is what it is. Listen, we're not in a competition with, like, one hardware is NVIDIA, one hardware is AMD, and there's different architectural differences there that, their T-flops are calculated different. We're on the same kind of architecture here. The Xbox Series X has more features, but it's The PlayStation 5 is still based off of RDNA 2, so the performance is going to be relative. One has less CUs than the other. 2 + 2 = 4. So it's pretty simple. We're just gonna have to be patient to see all this stuff play out.
Hey, let me get a few comments. Pongsoul, shout out to you, brother. He says, if only there were people out there telling us about the tools for months and months. Sure would be nice to understand. And then we've got, I'll come back to some of these super chats, but Lord Cognito, I do believe, left one here. Iron Lord's podcast, shout out to him, one of my favorite podcasts. He says, salute to my RDX brethren, killing it as always. Great to see my bro Ricari in here. Yeah, he showed up for you, Ricari. Hey, I'm trying to get Cognito in here. I'm gonna get him in here soon. Shout out to Iron Lords, awesome show. But yeah, D's right. It is what it is. The thing is pulling out an edge, and they've also announced a new upgrade for VRS on Gears of War, right? So, Tim Dog, have you looked into this at all?
Yeah, I heard that they did it for Gears, right? They finally implemented it. And
VRS 2.0, and yeah, 14% better performance, and apparently it's going to be utilized in DirectX 12 Ultimate for all games.
Yeah, even with Hitman, you're bringing up Hitman, that didn't use VRS at all for Xbox. And it's something that definitely gives you substantial performance gains, up to 17% in some areas. So it's good to see that they're starting to get that going. We all know that they have the hardware, full RDNA for that, and that was one of the things that they waited for. I'm really excited to hear when they talk about it, when the start stuff's to really hit, and that's obviously tied to the GDK and stuff like that. When you get the the direct ML stuff, the super resolution that I basically had somebody tell me that, they could have actually went with the Series S with how good that technology is looking. So just the Series S, no Series X. So, that stuff is going to be really impressive to hear about. And the VRS, just like this in Gears, they're showing the gains. This is like, people think that this stuff was like, just made up, and it's like made up by us. And, we're just trying to, pad the Xbox losing, these face-offs at the beginning. The bottom line is that people in this podcast asked people at Microsoft, like, what the hell's happening? And they were the ones that said tools, COVID.
Let me say something, Tim.
Stuff like that.
Phase 20. Let me say something. Phase 23 is trying to give me a run over here because he's grasping on to that launch window where PS5 is matching the more powerful Series X, and he's like, if I was you, Cole, I wouldn't be bragging about power because PS5 has the power narrative right now. And I just told you guys that this is the difference that will come, and it will only be more difficult if you were opening up the PlayStation 5 launch window, bragging about how power matters to you because it's more powerful than the Series X. The next 5 or 6 or 8 years of this console generation are going to be really difficult for a PlayStation fan who's mocking Xbox guys who bought the Series X. Like, it's going to be when these developers are using these features, you're going to see things like Hitman runs at 2.5 million more pixels, a higher setting overall, and it drops 1% of the frames when PlayStation 5 doesn't, and it's running at a higher resolution. Like, this is the kind of stuff I hate seeing in this community where people are mocking other people and pointing fingers when it's going to flip the other way, and it's going to be a difficult situation for people. Just state what's going on and move on with your life.
Well said. But yeah, I mean, Tim was on a pretty good roll there. I mean, I think you're right, Tim. It's definitely one of those things where a lot of these guys are blown away when this is happening, but we literally told them right before these tests were coming out that, yeah, this is something that could definitely happen.
And it wasn't made up by us. This is, people think that like we made that stuff up to try to damage control. No, when that stuff happened, I remember like dealer called me. He's like, "What's going on here? Like, have you heard anything?" And Cole, it's the same thing. And we reached out to some people, and basically they said that's what you get when you have tools that are not mature yet. It's going to happen. You're in a COVID. They got the dev kits. The GDK was finalized, I think, in June of 2020, and it was, I mean, that stuff was told to us, and it was good that I think the guy Alex whatever, the guy from
Battaglia.
Digital Foundry, the guy from Digital Foundry said exactly what we were saying. So it was valid. You know, it was nice to see that because you know he basically said the tools are maturing.
Not
And
only
I
him,
find
but
it
but
funny
Tom
that-
Warren of The Verge did a big article about it too, saying he's talking
Yeah,
to multiple anonymous developers, and they're saying the same exact thing. I covered that.
And not just that, I think I find it funny when they said, you know, that you have to say, we didn't make this up. I mean, how can you make up facts on hardware? I mean, it's out there. It's out there for everybody to know what's in these consoles. And everybody, including guys that were, you know, big PC guys and stuff and tech heads out there, those that maybe write articles and even don't, or even have a YouTube channel or whatnot, they were putting out there that, you know, the Series X should be the more powerful console. And when it wasn't, they were even shocked. They were like, what's going on here? And then now you start to see all these articles that come out and say, hey, the tools are not mature yet. And dealers have been saying it forever. Colt, D, all these guys here on RDX has been saying it forever. And it's like, you can't just say that somebody is making something up when the proof is there. It's hard. It's all in the hardware.
Yeah, and we're not saying wait and you should want to wait. No, we're saying you fucking got to. If you're gonna stick to Xbox and you want that performance, you got to. Sorry. So yeah, it's one of those things where it sucks, but you know we called it, and again we'll see it come to fruition and act like people act like it never happened. So yeah, Gears VRS 2.0, 14% better performance. And that will be used across all, and that's better performance than 2.1 or the first version of VRS, I think. So that might even be a bigger boost. I'm not sure. Zalker, I want you to cover this one real quick. This is big, right? Konami are apparently, because we got some really good topics. We had to cover this. Konami, they're selling off their IPs, Zalker. What's going on?
No, apparently, like I'm reading about
oddly
it.
specific.
Yeah, oddly specific. Konami is actually not doing that. They're still making them, but they're rebranding a lot of stuff and saying that they're changing a lot of their production developments, so they can make games at a far better pace.
I hate that you read. I wanted to get you.
I know you did, but it's okay. I hate that you know words. So yeah, they're not selling off. They're just reevaluating stuff and doing stuff a little differently. And then they want to, what they said, make games at a more nimble pace. Basically, instead of taking 85 years, they want to, shorten it and, really go through and rebrand some stuff and change some of the development teams. Is what they're saying, at least.
So are they still making like Metal Gear, or like they're still?
I don't know. That's something that they're not saying here. I mean, I hope they are. I mean, actually, I don't really give a shit about Metal Gear, but we'll see what they do. We'll see what they make. I don't know. They like some of their IPs, I feel like are really old. Like they're older. Like they're just kind of.
Mario says hi, bitch.
He's talking to you, Fonz.
Oh my god. I don't know. I guess nobody has anything to add. Nobody cares about Konami games on here. I'm sorry, chat. I wish we had someone on. Well, Fonz likes the hot tub scene in Final Fantasy, but that's it. And that's not even a Konami game, so whatever. I think I'm trying to make sure that we're hearing everybody because usually we don't get this much.
I haven't seen anybody say they haven't.
Okay, perfect, good. Colt steps in. Konami, if no one cares, just say it. We'll move on quick as fuck.
Yeah, I don't think anybody cares about Konami. I don't think anything.
No.
Yeah.
They used to be good. Konami, when I was growing up, like they were the shit. But what have they done lately? They're a shell of their former
I just feel like it's a name now, right? Like it's kind of like they're a name. Like I love Blizzard, but they're just a name now.
They should do what they did with Metal Gear and just rename themselves Konami Survive. Just survive, Konami. Metal Gear Survive.
How about Konami Pachinko?
Yeah, Pachinko machines.
No game developer ever stays the same longer than 10 or 15 years. Like, look at every one of them. I mean, Naughty Dog used to make those cartoon games. Now they're making some of the best games on the planet. Yeah. And Konami used to make amazing games, and they changed and made some different things. And everybody evolves, and you can just hope that your favorite studio, like BioWare, used to be amazing. Now I don't know if we like BioWare as much as we used to. It's I've seen it time and time again. I mean, I just hope the best for these teams as they grow. And
CD Projekt Red, right? Like everybody loves them, the darlings of the gaming world. Everybody's like, they're the greatest, and then now they're like, get them.
Yeah, now they're the worst according to the community. It's like, oh man, you got to live in the moment, I suppose, because some of these, like Borderlands 3, I just didn't like it. Borderlands 2 is one of my favorite games ever. So you just got to live in the moment, enjoy the games while they're great, and hope that the next team just surprises you and brings out a banger.
Speaking of
Amen.
surprising and banger, the medium, Colt, tell us what's going on with these previews and what are we here? I mean, this game is apparently gorgeous, but what else is going on with this? Did you watch some gameplay?
I've watched a little bit of gameplay, but I like to hear Ricari because I haven't been following this super close, but it does look really, really nice at 30 frames. Ricari, are you excited about the medium? Or is this your jam?
God, you're gonna hate me for this one because I am that lazy, apathetic gamer that pays no attention to any games until I wake up, see them on YouTube or Twitch, and be like, "Oh shit, I need to play that." So I have no clue other than the controllers that people have been posting that have me mad jealous. That's all I know of the medium.
Oh shit!
So the medium's a game where you have to make grilled cheese sandwiches really, really fast while you're being shot at.
On medium. Gotcha.
Medium settings, yeah.
Well, apparently it's limited to 30 because of the, I don't know. I forgot what was said.
It's so demanding. That's what
because they're rendering it twice, right? So they're using the dual screen. So I think the problem is that when it's in the dual screen mode and it goes to the full screen, I think it'd be too jarring for it to jump to 60. So I think they just left it at 30 because that's pretty demanding. They're rendering everything twice, and to do that at 60 frames per second on the consoles, I would imagine would be quite demanding.
I feel like
you know, it's pretty jarring. 30 frames after you've gotten used to 60 frames for so many games now. Yeah, that's pretty jarring.
I agree. But I don't know. On PC too, I don't know if it would be doing 60 frames per second either. I'm going to have to wait and see.
Kirby said you can get 60 with DLSS.
See, so you're not getting it native. You're getting it with AI reconstruction. So yeah, it's a lot to think that the consoles were going to run this game at 60 frames per second. Now, is it disappointing? Of course it is. I'd like 150 frames per second and just not have to worry about nothing. But it is what it is.
I feel like
just give me Minecraft graphics at 60. I'll do it.
Perfect. Hey, Cloud Practitioner, shout out to him. He says, "Where's that PS5 Ultra Instant SSD that was supposed to be be 2 times, if not more, faster than the Series X?" Yeah, I don't know. They were on that.
Throw that one to Tim.
It's true. I mean, Tim, but I'm sure things are coming to fruition here. But I mean, is there really much of a difference there? Why aren't they bragging about the SSD no more?
I don't know. That was brought up to me. It doesn't look like they bet hard on that, and I mean, I guess we gotta wait until we see tangible differences. But what we're seeing in these games is like maybe a second to a half a second load time, and I call me surprised. I thought that it would show a little bit better, but you gotta realize also that we haven't seen a real game utilize Xbox Velocity architecture. I guess we will see that this week with the medium coming to Game Pass, but it was definitely a little bit overhyped, and I mean maybe we'll see.
Well, let me bring up something on this.
Well, maybe we'll see something. I guess
here's what's funny about this, and I hate to do this because it's going to trigger some people, but do you remember all those articles that came out? And all these developers supposedly were glowing about how much better this SSD is, and oh my god, it's incredible! It's going to change the freaking world. And then their game comes out, and like he says, it's like a second or two difference. Like, okay, what happened there? Like, that's what I want to know, because anybody could say, well, the exclusive games, they're built more efficient, and they're utilizing it a lot more, and it's a lot faster. Blah blah blah. But no, we're talking about the multiplayer developers that came out, and we're saying that it's amazing, and they're using it in their games, and it's just that it's not there. It's like doesn't really show.
Even the backwards compatible games, they're running actually faster on the Series X, and they're both running off an SSD. But for some reason, backwards compatibility is working a lot better with the SSD that's inside the Series X. You're right. It's like a few seconds, man. I've seen some games where it may load, like, let's just give an example, 13 seconds on PlayStation 5, and on the Xbox it'll load like in 16 seconds. And at that point, does it really make a freaking difference? It doesn't. So for them to go so hard on the SSD and you not really see any tangible differences, I think is a major L, man.
I think a lot of the people that concentrated on the SSD, like when first party Sony studios talked about it, I get it. Like, you're talking about it because that's the system you're working on mainly, right? when third party talked about it, they're like, yeah, it's great. Like they were like, yeah, the SSD on the PS5 is great. But to me, I always took the third party as saying it's just great that they have SSD finally, because it's both Sony and Xbox, right? Like they're just happy to get it, right? Like because SSD's been, I've had an SSD since like 2011, like on my PC. Like everybody's had, like, SSD's been around for quite some time, so developers are just happy to have it. But I think it was mainly a lot of the, like, just people trying to like toxic or anything. And plus Sony's, that's the one thing they had an advantage on was SSD. So of course they concentrated on it. But I always took it as when third party talked about it as a group thing. Like they were talking about it for Xbox and Sony. Like they're just happy that they can develop a game.
Nah, it wasn't a group thing. There was developers specifically talking about the PS5 SSD over and over, and how great it was and how fantastic and how much better these games are going to be because of that
shit
fast
now,
speed.
huh?
Because it's the truth. That's what was going on. And the fact remains that, yes, you can look at some of these exclusive games and go, yeah, that's pretty damn fast. But man, I'm not seeing it with these multiplayer, games. And what's up? I just, it's a question. What's going on?
Well, I mean, I want to know like what you guys think about the medium. It comes out this week, right? Are you guys going to try it? Chat, let us know if you're going to try the medium. I mean, we're hearing it's like one of the best looking games there are. But gameplay and stuff is obviously going to be your opinion. Might not be the most exciting thing in the universe. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to try it, and I'm definitely going to. I guess I'm going to wonder why the fuck it's 30 frames. I don't know. If it's so demanding, just cut the resolution in half or something. Or maybe I just don't see why it would be this way. I heard something yesterday, but.
Yeah, I think they are pushing for 4K, and then they have the dual screen at 30. So yeah, I would agree with you. But if you look at the benchmark, or not the benchmark, but the recommended settings for the medium on different hardware, everything that was shown is stuck at 30 on PC. But Kirby Louise in the chat said that you can get up to 4K 60 on a high-end rig if you use DLSS, if you have a 3000 series NVIDIA card. So I don't know.
I want one.
I hope the game does well. Bloober's last game was Blair Witch. It didn't do very well despite the big name. So I hope that this is successful for them. They're not an Xbox studio. It's just something they just put on Xbox. So just cheer for them as a developer, and that makes games, I guess. Hope they make a great game that is received well.
Yeah, we want a good game, a good one. But yeah, I mean, Tim, you're not saying nothing about the medium. What's wrong?
Well, I mean, listen, it's something that I think that it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna be a 90 Metacritic. I think what you're gonna notice about it is some of the SSD things that they've done. Like there's no loading times. Listen, I watched the 18 minutes or the 15 minutes, and I thought the game would be a little bit different. I think it's gonna be okay. But again, I'm gonna try it out because I have Game Pass, and that's the thing about Game Pass is like games that you would be on the cusp of saying I might buy, I might not buy. You get to you get the ultimate demo service really there, where you could just play the game fully if you want. I'm going to give it a shot, but yeah, I think people who think it's going to be like a huge hit, you're going to be in for something. I could see like a 73 to 78 Metacritic type area, maybe better if the game pans out. It's just I mean. I see what they've done, and I like the idea of what they're doing, running the two games instantaneously at once. I think it's a good idea, but I don't know. It just didn't seem coming off. I thought it would be a little bit more, pushing the edge than it was from what I watched. But again, it's something that I play games.
Does it look good, Tim?
It looks good, but
somebody in the chat said it looked like a 360 game, and I saw a screenshot today of her standing in a bedroom that looked amazing.
No, yeah, I mean,
a 360 game.
No, I don't think it's it's not going to be it's not a AAA studio. This is a AA studio at its core, and
100 people.
100 people, and it's going to be like I said, I play games where I played them for hours and then really got into them, and then I play games where I tried it and just never went to it again, and we'll see with this one. I mean, but again, it's something that I mean, Xbox today, even though it's like kind of a retro game, they have a game called Cyber something that just came out. It's like an 84 Metacritic. that's the thing about Game Pass. It's just like these keep on coming. Whether it's going to be Psychonauts 2, and a lot of these smaller type games are hitting the service day one. And then I think we're all waiting as anybody on this panel, just Xbox fans in general, for the AAAs to hit, because that's when you really feel the glory of Game Pass.
The
But it's still
difference,
the Game Pass service is still great because it just gives us chance to play these games. If you're a gamer, you don't like Game Pass, there's something wrong, because it's just
Just a
this
hater.
is what you're just kind of a hater. But
No, I don't believe that.
Let me read this real quick, Tim, because I don't know, this could involve something. Z Black Rider, shout out to him. He's been watching the show for years. He says, I'll say it, Series X uses more silicon/CUs than RDNA 2. The NDAs will soon expire. Now, we know these boxes are custom, and they had to do what they had to do, but what do you think he means by that?
I don't know. All I know is that they definitely waited on the build for full RDNA technology, and that was the reason why everything was behind. That was the reason why they came in a little hot at launch. But I think they're expecting more wins to come by on the multi-plat side. So I guess we'll just wait and see. I kind of just shut down. I said I took my L when the first thing came out, because you really can't do it until it shows. And now you're starting to see something. With the Hitman 3, that was the biggest gulf as comparability when you can consider in terms of performance.
Yeah, it's
that
only
was
January.
Yeah, and if it was the other way around, that'd be really, really bad. So I think that it's going to show, and it's going to show from what I'm told, especially when they start developing for multi-threading, and certain things with the CPU, when they're really CPU intensive, and they're using VRS and that type of stuff, Xbox is really going to shine. Might be a year, might be 2 years.
Yeah, we'll see. That's a pretty far out day there.
Yeah, well, you're talking about 7 years in a generation. It really isn't, if you really think about it.
Yeah, I mean, more engines. I think. Yeah, what you're saying is like more engines will basically be prepared to leverage velocity and all that memory, all the texture compression, all that stuff, whatever it does, more so than they do today, basically. But when I'm talking about tools, I'm talking about like, okay, the box literally just doesn't really have, it's like having a premature driver on a graphics card. Like D-Batch could tell you about it all day. And then 6 months later, the card's 20% faster because of the drivers. That's what I mean by tools, not in that way, but in terms of a performance gain.
That happens all the time. I'll give you an example. The 6800 XTs, they just received an update, and they have 10% better performance. So this happens all the time, and yeah, you're right, man.
Well, perfect. We can go ahead and move on. Tim Dog well said. Z Black Rider, shout out to him for the super chat. Tim, you've been talking, but this is actually the perfect topic for you. Again, you're talking a lot tonight, buddy. Halo Infinite update from 343 this week, apparently. And I mean, seriously, no better person here to say what are you maybe expecting?
I don't think they're going to show anything like gameplay or anything. I think they're going to talk about like their timeline. Supposedly they're going to have an update every month. You remember originally when they said that they wanted to have a beta and they wanted people in it and playing the game beforehand, and that just went by the wayside?
Yeah.
That was because they were under the crunch. Now they're looking into stuff like that. So I think what you're going to get is a roadmap, and I don't think you're going to get gameplay or anything, so I wouldn't hold off for that. Maybe they'll show, like they've been doing, they'll show custom screens and stuff like those, like they did last time, which looked pretty good and went over.
Screenshots,
the screenshots, you might see that, and they're going to talk about certain things. I would think you'd hear a little bit about the multiplayer and stuff like that, and more or less a roadmap, and they might talk about the beta, and they get some players. I firmly believe that in like the summer, you will have these insider Xboxes, insider Xbox or inside part of the program playing the game in multiplayer and working out the bugs and stuff. And to think that they were going to release it without any of that, just goes to show you how far behind they were and how much of in trouble they were and how the reason why they delayed a full year.
Is there going to be like updates every month on it?
Yeah, it's a monthly update. So, like, I just think you're gonna get the roadmap next this update, possible screenshots. You might hear something what they're trying to do with the graphics, and they might talk about the beta. When they plan
Flighting.
the beta.
Don't call it a beta.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it, but get people in.
Are they going
on
to do a
it and playing
multiplayer mode where you blow up a bunch of buildings with your friends?
I don't
We're
know.
talking about Crackdown now?
Is Colt going to get 100 hours in that
It sounds
mode?
like Mechasol.
Somebody put up a screenshot. I have 1 hour in Wrecking Zone.
Oh, no.
Anyway,
That's a long
Just
ways
add
off
2
100.
zeros to that. Just
yeah.
add 2 zeros.
99 more hours to go, Colt.
I'll just have to Photoshop a couple zeros in there. Yeah,
Oh,
it's funny.
man.
I like that they're doing this. You can obviously tell that 343 and Xbox are doing this because they're trying to keep the fans informed on what's happening with Halo Infinite, unlike they were doing before. Before it was like, here's a demo and we're really proud of it, or a gameplay showing, and people were like, what
Mhm.
the fuck? Like, what is that? Right? And so I'm glad that they're doing this and really being transparent with their biggest franchise. So keep giving us updates on what the game's doing. Like, I like this. So keep doing
This is a pretty interesting comment from from I don't know. I guess Kolaz L. Sorry, I can't pronounce that. He said we'd have Halo Infinite right now if no one complained. He'd have no textures on Craig's forehead, bumping into everything he's running. Yeah, I mean it's a good thing they pushed that back for sure, buddy. He definitely wanted to get the product.
Speaking of no textures, Ricari had to jump out.
No,
He didn't have
Ricari's,
any textures on his face, so he had to.
He's got a pet alligator that chews through his internet cords all the time. I don't know what's going on there. But Halo.
But he said goodbye in the chat.
Okay.
So.
Also,
Yeah.
I did want his take on one last thing, man. Ricari, okay, Colt, tell me about Halo. What's going to be there? Go.
What do you mean? What's going to be there? Jeez.
Yeah,
I don't
tell
know,
everybody.
A multiplayer like test thing like they did with 5. Hopefully more. And I hope the game looks great. I mean, I actually was playing Warzone Firefight for Halo 5 a couple days ago, and that game just looks so good. Still holds up, looks great. And all they did was just up-res it. I don't know if they boosted any settings on the 1X. This is all I'm playing is a 1X version on Series X. Yeah, I mean, I know 343 can make a great-looking game, and they have an entire year to make it look better. So I'm expecting a lot of great things.
Yeah, there's a lot of really, really good stuff coming, honestly.
I think there's no sprint, and I think there's only what I would call hip firing. There's no aim down sight. So there's no sprint, no aim down sight. So I think you're going to get that classic Halo Combat Evolved feel. People really hate the grappling hook, but they're going to be like, oh, this is fun. So the game's good. It's going to do well, I think. It's going to be fun. A lot of people are going to be playing it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Zachary, tell us about this is kind of a big thing that you ended up throwing up in the chat on our RDX chat here. Tencent apparently looking into buying and acquiring billions of dollars to take EA, Activision, and others.
Take-Two. Also Take-Two.
Take-Two. Tencent, man.
Tencent's going after a lot of people, and that's something that Google, Amazon, like developers are the key now. Like it's a seller's market. Developers, like studios that are independent, are gonna be snatched up because the number one thing that everybody wants is content, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need content to sell a product, all that, and developers make it. Takes time to make a game. So obviously, you need more and more developers. And Tencent's looking to get someone big. There was rumors, a lot of rumors circulating that there are 3 to 4 major deals in the background going on right now. And they're not saying companies, but Microsoft's in the middle of them. We know that. People have said that Microsoft is in the middle of them because they're trying to combat, Tencent, Google and Amazon, and even apparently some Apple. And, that's all these things are going crazy. EA buying Codemasters. There's going to be a lot of movement this year from what insiders are saying. That I think it was like last year, and this doesn't even include the Codemasters purchase or the Bethesda purchase. Last year was the most money spent in acquisitions for studios since like 6 years ago or something like that. So yeah, this stuff is moving pretty quickly. Tencent is in the mix. They're trying to get as many developers as they can, and I man, I hope that Xbox and even Sony, like I hope they get in there and get in the mix, because I don't know what Tencent would do with those developers, man.
There's nothing we can do either.
There's nothing. No, they
Nothing.
like Tencent's been preparing for this for a while apparently, and they've been gathering up billions of dollars to acquire so many studios, including like someone like EA and stuff like that. And it's funny that they brought up EA, Take-Two, but they never brought up Ubisoft. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, and just so people know, Tencent can just acquire these companies whether they like it or not, and they do that through investment, and that's why they're trying to acquire all these billions. They're just going to, because they pretty much right now Tencent is invested in so many companies. Just about every video game company out there, they've got investments in already. But you're looking at all they need to acquire, I think, is like 51% of their stakes, and boom, they take over. And they've already got 40% stake in several companies, and it's scary. As a gamer, you don't want to see Tencent take over like this. It's not good.
No,
they would be like, make a game that's just microtransactions. That's it. All microtransactions.
And we were telling you guys that that's why Microsoft jumped on ZeniMax, because it was Google, it was Amazon, it was Tencent. And again, all these megalodons, right, are swimming around. They're trying to eat everything they can, and there's only a select few companies in the world that have the kind of capital to buy these massive Grand Theft Auto owning, businesses, and all these, the biggest things you think of. They can just swoop them up. They just got to make it happen. And who knows?
It's ridiculous.
And with gaming, like like I said, with gaming, like we just talked about the revenue, right? Like isn't Xbox worth like 600, or estimated worth $600 billion? Like gaming is crazy. So every company during this, situation around the world, the pandemic, they're looking at like, hey, what's making money? Gaming is making a lot of money, people. So every company's looking at it like, oh, we need to get in on this, get our piece of the pie. And that's what Tencent's doing. Tencent they have a big piece of the pie already, and they're just trying to go in for the kill. And Microsoft, Google, Amazon, companies that have a lot of money, like don't shy away from Google Stadia. I know people make fun of it, but Google has a lot of money they can throw around.
Gaming is just so mainstream now. Like I've been gaming for a while, and it was kind of a taboo, and now it's just mainstream, and these guys are just trying to make as much money as possible. In the pandemic, everybody's stuck at home. So everybody's stuck at home. Your regular routine is not the way it used to be. You're not going to the gym. Most guys are staying home, watching TV, playing video games, and the industry is just soaring. And it's a crazy time for it to be soaring, considering all the things that's going on. It's just madness.
Yeah, I don't know. You could be really looking at a world where in 8 months, a year, Tencent can own some of the biggest publishers in the world, and therefore some of the biggest IPs in the history of gaming. And
could they buy you?
We have $6. I'm pretty cheap.
And not to get too political or anything, but with Tencent, like it being a Chinese-based company, they their government will not allow any American company to take over one of their companies. I wish that we had something in place like that here.
So Vaughn's is saying they come over, swoop up, and then they're not legally allowed to be swooped up by a company that isn't Chinese owned or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of countries are like that, actually. America is just one of the few that doesn't.
Here, take our shit. Take it.
Yeah. Microsoft was trying to, they have kind of the same thing in Japan, but now with the ZeniMax purchase, they have a Japanese owned studio. So now they can actually make moves within that market. Microsoft can. That's what some people don't know. I forgot the name, that Japanese studio through ZeniMax. I think they're the ones making Ghostwire Tokyo, I think. Is that them? Yeah, I think it's them that are making that game. They're a Japanese company. I think so, yeah. Yeah, I think so, yeah. So, yeah, that's a big thing. So now Microsoft has a foothold within there. So there's going to be a lot of moving parts this year, people. I know we always talk about studios and people are like, I can't get any, what else are they going to do? Bam, Bethesda. Like, what the fuck? Like, and then there's even like, people are like, yeah, there's probably, there's even bigger things. Like, you got to think like anybody's on the table now. So there you go.
Well, Colt.
Tango Gameworks. Thank you, Zero Myth, Tango Gameworks.
Tango Gameworks. Basically, yeah. I mean, again,
Greg.
it is what it
Thanks,
is.
Greg.
I wanted to go ahead and move on, but I wanted to ask Colt how much it would be for Tencent to just buy a minute of his video.
$6.
$6?
Yeah, I mean, a minute of my
Stop
video
competing.
is worth a minute of my video is worth your entire life.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and just act like that's $6 then.
$6.01.
My life is worth $6. Hey,
Well, I'm sorry. It was 6 UB bucks.
oh, you gotta unlock
Sorry
like
about
the thong and Assassin's Creed with the credits. Yeah.
You're a Pegasus that doesn't
And
fly.
then
Yeah.
Flying Pegasus.
I wish I could unlock. Yeah. Flight Simulator may come to the original Xbox platform, says developer. Apparently, don't count on this. I don't know why they even entertained that.
540p
Yeah.
No,
right now.
CPU would just explode and send shrapnel into your family. You know, it's just not good stuff. You
It
wouldn't.
comes out and it's just wireframe like the.
Chat, let us
Yeah.
know if you think this is possible. Those of you that are into this.
Microsoft Paint. It's just
Oh man.
Would you play Flight Simulator on the Xbox One, Zucker? The big one, the VCR?
no.
We know you would. Come on.
Bro, I don't even
Yeah, I
have my shit plugged in. Like I don't even know where my big Xbox VCR. I don't know where it is. Like,
I
I
can
just got
imagine
rid
you
of it.
boot it up on the old Xbox, and all you see is like you have a plane with no wings, and there's nothing going on out there. There's no
Cucumbers
houses, no
flying in
nothing
the
on the
sky.
ground,
Oh, man. Someone said
flying through brick clouds.
Valerian said 220p. Oh, my. Yeah, that'd be a new record. That'd beat that 792p from Titanfall 1.
Yeah, that game is beating the shit out of PCs, man. I have a 3080, it beats the shit out of it. My 6800 XT beats the shit out of it, man. So yeah, I think I think a 3090, if you maybe tweak it a little bit, you might get like 60 kind of locked, but it's still not kind of locked. So yeah, man, that game is going on the brick Xbox One. That'd be hilarious though, man. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, the CPU. I mean, I don't think there's a game CPU on the planet right now that Flight Simulator does not bottleneck on the ground, right?
Yeah.
So no matter what your graphics card is, when you're taking off, you're never at a lock 60 from what I've seen.
Yeah. It's just this. Yeah, it's harsh on the CPU. Well, it's calculating a lot of shit. Like when you think about it, that game is just doing things that other games haven't done before it. I don't think that game gets the credit it deserves from gamers, because that game is just amazing. If you play that game, honestly, it looks like real life. And I've seen comparisons when they have, you know, the real place, the real airport or the real plane landing or whatever, and then they have it in the game, and side by side, it's like photo realistic. And when you're playing that game, it's so immersive. And I'll say this is one of the games, although of course I wanted a freaking 60 frames per second, the game is so fun that, like, honestly, at 30 frames per second, I'm okay with it, because it's not like it's fast action. You're flying an airplane, right? So even at 30 frames per second, that game's really, really enjoyable. I can't wait till Xbox guys get to play that game.
Oh, also the real time weather as well.
Oh my God!
If it's storming somewhere, it's actually storming within the game as well.
It was earlier last year or late last year. There was a big hurricane event. I forget the name of the hurricane, and people were flying directly into it in real time. Like, yeah, it's pretty crazy.
That's,
Yeah.
I did that at my cousin's.
Pretty cool.
I did that at my cousin's house. He was like, he's like, is there real time? He's like, it's real time weather. And then we looked up weather, and a hurricane was happening, and he was like, we're going. I was
Yeah,
like, oh,
exactly.
dude.
Why
And it
not?
was pretty cool. It's like, it was there. Like,
And
I was like- I
Zucker
was
put
like,
on like a leather, like World War II flight helmet and zipped it over his head.
Let's do it.
He put
little
on
yellow
floaties on his
raincoat.
arms. He's ready to hit that water.
Oh, God. Bonds, I know you just said you want Tencent to buy all the companies and you want them to rule gaming, but I have to say I disagree with that as we move on to our next topic.
Oh man, yes. Rule Tencent. Buy Microsoft Tencent.
What happened to Fugle? Wait, I just can't trust you anymore.
Oh man.
You guys remember
Well,
Fugle?
you know, right now I'm in talks with Jim Loose Lips Ryan. We're gonna figure something out.
Why do you call him
against
Loose
Tencent.
Lips for?
It's just my pet name for him.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Pet
Oh.
name.
Well,
We're tight like that.
okay. Well, let's
Doesn't sound tight to me.
get tight. Let's get tight with the
gosh.
topic here. Jason Ronald does release a statement on Twitter after many of us do take to basically voice our opinion. Hey, the games look amazing. We want to show these games to people. People are like acting like we are ashamed of the games, and that's why we're not showing them. It's like, no, if you looked into anything, the clips are dim sometimes. Sometimes they don't clip, they don't trim, or they'll crash or whatever. So
They
Jason,
won't upload, yeah.
Yeah, Jason came out after Gavin, a developer, came out, and I retweeted his thing. Jason was right in the mix, and he said that they've heard the feedback and are working on a number of improvements to the capture system for Xbox Series X and S.
He replied to me, which was cool. I mean, Gavin put out that tweet, and I said, "Hey, Jason, what's going on with this?" So, it was a great combination of a bunch of us. Dealer asked, Gavin, Stevens, and asking what's going on with this. So it was cool. They stepped up, but they've been working on this for a while. The DVRs had issues for almost 2 years.
It's basically running like the 1X DVR, just like, okay, it works barely. We don't have time for it right now, but I think they've accelerated their plans to fix that. Some people ask about Upload Studio. No word on that. I wouldn't count on it.
Actually, it wasn't working at launch when we were previewing the Series X, and then they ironed things out at launch, and then it kind of reverted back to its old ways. So they've got like some kind of crazy problems that they can't iron out, and I don't know why. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, I would definitely like it to be fixed sooner or later, because I absolutely love the functionality.
I have to be fair, because it's cool that I can ask somebody at Xbox and get a response, because some of the people follow us that are on, people follow the people that are in this chat right now, but I've had problems with the PlayStation 4 with corrupted clips, and now the PlayStation 5 is doing the exact opposite the Xbox does. If you're in non-HDR, you don't get the correct color gamut capture. It does the same thing that Xbox does, but flip-flopped. I don't know the best way to explain that. If you're in SDR, you get a fake HDR capture. If you're in SDR, you get a blah, 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 vice versa. How do you explain that, dealer?
It's just borked, man. The whole thing is messed up.
HDR, if you're using HDR capture setting on the Xbox, you'll get this washed out or too dark capture.
I think it's the nits and the luminance are kind of mapped,
when I captured
it's not tone mapping properly.
Yeah, the tone mapping. When I captured on the PS5, all of my clips were in SDR, and I got this washed out thing that I would get if I tried to use HDR.
This is through your capture card?
No. I'm talking about when I've captured with the game DVR.
Yeah, with the game DVR. Yeah, I never capture on PlayStation anymore after they corrupted like 2 of my drives.
Yeah, I recorded and brought over a bunch of stuff through the USB drive and brought it into Premiere Pro. And basically, the way to explain it is I was recording Miles Morales, and it looks great on my screen, but when I bring it into the computer, the video looks like you jacked all the whites up, like it's a snowy fog, and the color saturation is gone, so there's hardly any color, and the blacks are like not really there. It just looks really horrible. So I brought it in and like turned everything in opposite directions to get it to look normal enough. And some people complained on a video I put together with that footage, like, what's going on with this footage? I'm like, yeah, it's...
Well, the Series X DVR, did that just come straight ported over from the 1X DVR?
Yes.
It's basically the same DVR.
It's the same thing. They didn't improve it.
Yeah.
And
it needs lots of improvements. I hope they get it right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me read this comment by a fan of the show. His name is Fatal Dragon 69. He says, "Damn, it's time for me to go to work. The time flies fast. But before I go, dealer and team, are any of you looking forward to Little Nightmares 2 at all?" I like the first Little Nightmares. Any of you guys play it?
I kind of
loved it.
Tim liked it. I liked it. It was like Inside, but way more, way more messed up.
Yeah, I played it.
So I'll definitely give it a try, man. It'll probably be in Game Pass too. So again, Medium 2. We didn't talk a ton about that. Not a ton of excitement. Even in the chat, some of you guys are excited for it, but I'll definitely be trying it. Let me know if you guys are going to be trying it as well. I'm glad the DVR is getting fixed. That needs to be fixed. It's been affecting capture cards as well. And then there's another update that is not only adding it adds HDR to the YouTube app on the Xbox.
Finally.
Right? Which
I've been asking for that.
Yeah, and people are asking for the direct from YouTube streaming, like the PlayStation has on the console as well. But that's not Microsoft. That's Google. Like they have yet to, and still never have, in 10 years almost, put direct streaming on their YouTube app on Xbox.
They should do that.
They are competitors, but it's a little ridiculous at this point. But yeah,
it is.
HDR.
And didn't they fix the Blu-ray black levels as well?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. How's that?
Yeah,
so what they do? Is that like a gamma curve Fonz?
It was it was the same thing that happened with the Xbox One X. Don't you remember when that dropped? The Blu-ray player had to raise black levels, and people were complaining. It was the same thing, and they fixed it. So I don't know what it is, but it's like they just kind of said, let's just do the port over. This, it's what is it? The same Blu-ray player? Who knows?
Who knows?
But the way they're like, I don't know. The way they adjust these things or don't, it's just weird to me. Like, you think that they would realize that the black levels were off, in testing.
Yeah, it's almost like they just didn't have enough time, which is odd. I don't know. But I guess since we got that out of the way, I want the final topic to go to Cultist, Eastwood, Driftwood, and Coulter. Xbox. They basically are confirming that there are. You remember before launch we were looking for those back compat like Fallout 4, 60 FPS, and all this crap, and Xbox are confirming that they do have more back compat surprises regarding enhancements to older technology games and titles, and more coming. I think I read it as well. I'm not sure about that, but what are your expectations? Yeah,
it sounds like they have not given up on approving and pushing out 360 back compat games, so that will still come from the team.
Yeah,
they've been working on launch, and so launch is taken care of. I mean, everything on the Xbox One works on Series X and S. So someone asked in that thread where Jason replied about working on the DVR or the game capture that yes, they were still working on delivering the 60 FPS increase on certain games this year. He said it would be this year. Oh man, I wanted this at launch so bad. I wanted to start like a new playthrough of Fallout 4, but they're still not saying which games will get this boost. All we know is physics have to be tied to the frame rate in order for them to use this special tweak workaround. Yeah,
it's gonna be.
And Dealer and I were just talking about this the other day. It's like, where is maybe Kirby can answer this if he's still here, but. Like, how difficult is it to reach out to a developer and say, hey, can you unlock the frame rate on these new consoles? Because the PS5 and Xbox Series S and X can run these games at 60. And, Kirby just said I have it backwards. Physics cannot be tied to the frame rate or else it won't work. Thank you, Kirby. So we wanted to ask, like, Kirby, how much work is it to ask a developer, like, can you unlock the frame rate on this game? Like, what were we playing the other day? And we're like, why isn't this 60 yet? Like the Division 2, like I wasn't going to really play it, but try it out. Like we're still waiting for Metro X's to be unlocked. So I've always wondered, like, what does it take on a console on the dev kit to unlock the frame rate and make some adjustments? Because hardly anybody's doing this right now.
Well, I mean, James Keane, he says, wouldn't you rather pay for a remaster or else we're not supporting the developers? Guys.
Is he being sarcastic?
I don't know. Shout out to James Keane. Long story short, Microsoft confirming they got more stuff coming. They got more announcements. And you remember last July, Colt?
Oh yeah.
With that little games event, we had Major Nelson on the show, and it was kind of a big thing. We had a lot of people listening, and that was basically like E3, and we're already into February again. What the hell? Where did time go?
Oh. Like another week.
That quick.
Yeah.
Insane. It's already close to E3 time, which is nuts.
I've hardly left the house, but yeah, this year has flown by pretty fast.
Yeah. Well, again, guys, if you haven't hit the like button, let's try to get up to 1,000 before the end of the show.
Days into this year. What do you mean?
Let's try to get up to 1,000 for the end of the show. Thank you so much for what you do. Subscribe. And of course, let us know your thoughts. I'm going to read a few of these super chats real quick, and then I guess we can start to kind of, if you guys want to answer questions with the chat or whatever, we can. But Aaron, by the way, JF94, he says, now Microsoft need to announce their full Bethesda exclusivity and make up for their oopsie. Yeah, well, at least they reversed it and did what they did. They still, got punished for it. SPL ATTM 4N, I like to think Phil didn't know about this, about the Xbox Live thing, the price hype. And he does believe that Xbox is going to take years and years. He knows this. He's got a long-term vision, and I think Phil knew. I don't think this gets past fail without him knowing. James Keene says, why wouldn't people convert to Game Pass? Question mark. Does gold make sense now? There's still back here on the Game Pass questions. We've also got Cloud. I think I already got you there, Cloud. CYV Studio. He says PS5 SSD best topic of the night. LOL. We've also got Dark CMF. He says, I have been trying to launch the medium. Okay, so he's trying to actually get the game to run right now. He says, just hoping it will launch for some reason. Yeah, I've done that before. He says, aside from having amazing... Yeah, he says, aside from how amazing the game looks, how about the SSD? How about that SSD? Yeah, that's pretty interesting, man. There's a lot of comments on the SSD today. We've also got Sylar. He says, whoever is playing Forza, yeah, that's me. Vin Diesel, you're not. I am Vin Diesel, okay? I use rewind all day long in this game. Yeah, I mean, I was all over the place in this footage, man. I jumped back into Motorsport or Forza Horizon after months, bro. It's like, okay, I played it a little bit at launch. And then I am Ancient Gamer. Shout out to you. New channel member. Shout out to you, brother. But yeah, I was going a little crazy in Forza. Again, guys, let us know your thoughts.
Kirby said what you always joke about, dealer, or you always assume. Kirby said they literally have to change one digit in the code. So I assume that means they just change it to say 60 and then they push it forward to certification through PlayStation and Xbox. So a week? Like, come on. I would love to see a lot of these games just get unlocked. I would go back and play them, but I'm just tired of 30. We put up with 30 for far too long because of the Xbox One and PS4 launch consoles. So
100%, man. Hey, Obi-Wan says, I don't understand how doubling it was even an option. It's like they let Zocker run Xbox for a day.
Oh my God. Why you gotta curse stomp Zocker like that?
Was that Randolph Thorpe's
Obi-Wan
stock account or
no,
what?
it's Obi-Wan who said the flying in Iron Man Avengers is better than Anthems. That's who that is. Fraud.
Really?
Yeah, he did.
Hey, shout out to Noof Nukem in the chat as well. Yes, Noof, we know you don't like Game Pass. Everyone likes what they like. The last physical game I bought was Mafia 3 when that came out. When was that?
Yeah. Everyone say what your last physical game was. Titanfall 2. How about you, Fonz?
Yakuza 0.
No. The one you bought.
Yeah, physical.
Oh yeah.
Physical that was bought for me was that game made by Tango Works, the horror show game. Inside something, I forgot. You guys know what I'm talking about, right?
No.
Bethesda made it. It was a horror flick, a horror game.
Evil Within.
Evil Within, yeah.
Zocker, what was the last physical PC game you bought?
PC game?
I'm just kidding.
2000.
That would be like 2001 or something. But no, what was the last?
Sometimes you'll find a PC game in a bin in Walmart. You know, you'd be like, "Whoa, look at this, Alice in Wonderland."
Hey, I do got to give a shout out to Noof because I remember him talking about this like a year or two ago on Twitter. How ever since the Game Pass was kind of introduced, the quality of the games of gold had been going down, and he was one of the first people I ever saw talking about this. And he was definitely onto something there. Yeah, what was the last Games of Gold, Colt? My Little Pony. Randall's excited about that one.
There was one kind of cool game. Little Nightmares, right? Or was that? No, that was the Game Pass. What was the game that came out? There was one game I grabbed from Gold, and I actually hadn't been grabbing them in like an entire year.
I remember briefly seeing it was a good game. I can't remember.
I don't even remember, but
I haven't grabbed
that's how
a
amazing it was.
game in so long, but I think Black Flag was one that I grabbed. Like that was years ago.
Oh, that's the beginning of the Xbox One generation, really early on.
I don't know, since Game Pass, it hasn't really. Games with Gold has been nothing. But as for physical games, my last physical game I think was Assassin's Creed Unity.
The problem with gold games and PSN games as well, it's just like you seem to always have the game already. You already purchased it.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, Games with Gold is not for the hardcore, No. Like Ricari was saying before he jumped out, like we're like there's not many of us who have been paying for gold forever and we're always here and we're hardcore and buy so many games. Like Games of Gold is never really going to offer us what we think is worth service. But PS Plus has been killing it with the games they've been getting. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is their game this, and something else I can't remember. But you know, I don't know if I'd play that again on PlayStation, but yeah.
No, if it's third party, I don't really.
Yeah, so Games of Gold got worse over time, and let's just double the price now.
Well,
what was your last physical game, Zocker? You didn't answer.
I said Assassin's Creed Unity.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the last. I think I got it for like a sale too, because I haven't even played it because it was so messed up. People were really mad at how buggy it was. And it took
way
them,
back, your last physicals when that game came out.
Yeah, something like that. Like
Wow,
back then,
yeah.
like because I just get everything digital now. Like there is no reason for me to get physical. Like I didn't understand the reason of me grabbing a disc, then sitting there and installing it, and then having to keep it in. Like it's like what am I doing? Like that's why PC became irrelevant. Like do you remember the PC games came in like these big boxes?
Yep.
Yeah,
like
these
it-
DVD cases. Yeah.
Like you know these big old.
No, there were
my-
huge boxes. Yeah.
I had
Yeah, I
World
know.
of Warcraft. That's my last physical PC game I think I ever bought was World of Warcraft.
Had that too.
I played games on PC. You needed like 5 CD-ROM installs to get the game on there.
World of Warcraft is
Five
4, I
CD
think, or
ROM.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first one.
Uh-huh.
Grand Theft
I think
Auto.
it might be 3.
Grand Theft Auto was like 1 million discs, man. I think
You guys hearing this rumor? They're gonna remaster 3 San Andreas and Vice City. You guys think that's true?
Yeah, no, I saw that. I think it's somebody from the community that actually like remastered the characters itself, and I think after them doing it,
People just ran with it.
yeah. But I gotta say though, the job that he did with those remasters, holy shit, man, the characters looked awesome to the point where I would actually pay for that, to be honest with you, because there's some games that you can go back and replay. It depends on how long ago they were out, and like those games are fucking old now, man. So a remastered version of that game, all 3 of them, fuck, I think that'd be a good deal.
I just want a GTA, like a new one, man. I just
I want a 6.
didn't
I want
get
6
one.
to come out already.
like I'm really sad that we didn't get a new GTA this generation or a new Elder Scrolls this generation. Like talk about just like what the F. Like,
If I
come on.
had to guess, though, honestly, I think we're probably going to get an announcement for a new GTA this year because Red Dead Redemption, although it's a great game and critically acclaimed and whatnot, it doesn't have the same weight as GTA, and I think that game is like it'll be there, but it's starting to teeter off somewhat. Where like GTA, like it's its own fucking thing. Like people are still on that; they're still buying the Game Sharks or all the bullshit they get their codes for that game for the money. So it's still being played. So I could see them going to a newer version of that opposed to Red Dead Redemption. I don't think. I think the time is now. I think this year we'll get an announcement for.
I honestly feel like they're going to keep going with GTA Online and then maybe launch a new IP.
I think this year that's it, man.
No, GTA 6 is in the works. I'm sure.
Yeah, I think this year the gravy train is over for that. They're going to announce something with GTA this year to get people's interest back into it. This is my opinion, whatever. And I think maybe towards the end
The
of the
gravy train is over 9 years later.
it's crazy though, huh? Like remember last year looking at all the MPDs and seeing Grand Theft Auto always at the top. Like how the hell do they do it? I don't understand.
It's still at the top. They're just not reporting
Yeah.
sales anymore.
Yeah, it's still there. It's
Yeah.
still selling like crazy, and people
That's-
still like. I know 4 of my coworkers legitimately play GTA Online every day.
Yeah,
Like it's like the new like COD almost, right? Like the new like, hey, just jump on, play for a little. Like it's almost like that, and I'm like, what do you guys even like? What? Why?
And-
Whatever.
Why?
and
I love Dealer's like sitting back with his hands behind his head, just enjoying
Yeah.
our little rant about Grand Theft Auto. Just having a
now,
good time.
now's the perfect time though. New generation, new fucking hardware, new PC stuff out there. Now's the perfect time to get it and milk it for the next 6 years. I think it's gonna drop. I think
Don't
they're
milk it. Make a quality game, please.
Well, they do. Their games.
I just want him to make. I think Fonz and I were talking about. Might have been Zocker. Zocker and I like to talk too about games. I want them to make a period, a time period, Grand Theft Auto like 70s or 90s or something. I don't want them to do
80s.
like
What
or
about
80s.
again?
Like I don't care if they take the 80s. Like they did 1992, amazing. Like in the
Yeah, they did.
atmosphere of the LA riots and gangster rap. That game's amazing. And then Vice City is outstanding. And I just think they're so incredible, like nailing the idiosyncrasies of a time period. and they kind of did the modern take with GTA 5, which is cool, but like you don't have that like feeling like you're in this.
I think they need to do. I think they need to do 80s because there can still be pretty nice cars.
And 80s is really popular right
and
now.
And 80s is pretty good. So, and then the music, and it's very like a lot of the older generation will play it, or people like that you were born or raised in the 80s. I think that would be pretty cool. Plus, Vice City is really older. Like it's a really older game, so like that would be really good to kind of get in that. But I've always said this, but it's never gonna happen. I always wanted like a World War II one, like I love this game called The Saboteur.
That game's great.
I freaking love that game where you like infiltrate like.
That was their last game. That studio shut down after that.
That's so sad.
Chat, have you guys played Saboteur? It's like an open world World War II era, like taking down Nazis and cleaning up Paris. It's amazing.
Yeah, and then every district you take over, like you're playing in black and white, and then once you take over it, it becomes colorful. It's freaking great. Like it's such a great game.
Oh man.
But then I realized GTA they're not going to do that because there's no cars. Like there's not really a lot of vehicles that you can.
The cars in Saboteur, you're driving those 1940s cars, and but it's still super fun.
I wouldn't mind a Max Payne 4. Somebody's saying that in the chat. Yeah,
oh yeah,
I would want that.
Shout out to Lord Starkiller, by the way. He says the last PC physical release was Grand Theft Auto 4. Wow, that was forever.
PC physical.
What's the last midnight release you guys went to, chat? Let us know. Colt, what's the last one you went to?
GTA 5, actually. It's the only one. I went into Walmart at midnight, and I was so it was 2013, and I'd kind of been back into gaming hardcore for a couple years, and so I decided I was going to go pick up GTA 5 at midnight at Walmart, and so I drove a couple miles over to the Walmart, and I went in there, and I was ashamed to be there. I felt like a nerd. I'm like, I can't believe this. I'm a grown person, in my 30s or whatever. If give you the date, you can kind of figure it out. But I'm in my 30s, and I'm going into a midnight release to grab a video game. And I got there, and there was a bunch of guys that were a little bit younger than me and a couple around my age. And I was like, oh, okay. Because I felt weird at first. I mean, Fonz might know what I'm talking about, but I hadn't gone to a lot of midnight releases. That was my first one, and I was kind of sheepish there. And then I got in line. There was only a line with guys buying Grand Theft Auto, and then like some lady buying a feminine product in the other line. But we were just talking about how we're excited to play the game, and I felt normal because
I've never been to a game release at midnight, but I've been to pretty much every console generation. If there was a midnight release, I was there.
Wow. I did. The last one for me was Halo. The last Halo on Xbox One. I did the midnight release at the Microsoft store. It was actually pretty fun, man. They had a lot of prizes. I think I won a controller or something. So it was a good experience. But those days are done. Like I remember lining up for the consoles out in the cold for like 2-3 hours. Everything now we do it digitally, man. Like we order our consoles digitally. Like it is what it is.
I think my last midnight release was StarCraft 2. And I remember going there and talking RTS games and everything with like.
Was that like 2011 or what?
2010, I think.
2010.
Yeah, because StarCraft, everybody knows, is my favorite game of all time. So I remember going like, I wanted I bought the big physical like $200 edition or whatever the hell it was. So like I got it, and there's 40 other people. I remember there's 40 people there just talking Blizzard. Back when Blizzard was Blizzard, and just being happy. I hate you, Activision, so much.
So we weren't quite specific on Medium earlier, but Siler, he has the super chat directly addressing this, and I did want to get this real quick. RDX family, do you think that the Medium will be great? I just preloaded it, and remember, this is on Game Pass day and date. I mean, we're hearing exactly what we've been telling you this whole time about Medium.
What about you, dealer? What's your last midnight release? Or have you?
Last midnight release. The console's definitely technically a game that I got with a console, probably, because I've been digital since Mafia 3, which is just 2 missions over and over.
PlayStation 4 was my last midnight release.
Chad, let us know your last your last physical pickup was for games.
Was it the Xbox One or One X that you got the last time you went? Actually, you didn't get your X midnight release.
Yeah, I got it midnight.
You did?
Don't think I Yeah, I was a digital by then, so I didn't get any games with it. I think Fallout 4 and Tomb Raider, that was a massive night. Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Or was it Rise of the Tomb Raider? The second one.
It was
And
Rise
Fallout
of
4
the Tomb
launched on
Raider.
the same day.
I
And
didn't get.
I went and got both of those that night. And that's probably the last one.
Didn't something else launch with it too, like Call of Duty
Mm,
or
No.
something big, or was it?
It was a big
Battlefield?
year. 2015 was. I think it was 2015. Yeah, it was a big year. I ordered mine from Amazon, the disc-based Rise of the Tomb Raider, and I had the day off that day. I was so excited, and I had to basically wait for Amazon to drop it off. So I was mowing my lawn, and I would do a cycle, empty the bag, and then go check the front step, and then put the bag back on the lawnmower. I'm such a nerd, man. I love it, and it's been a while since we've had a really, really big game that well, Cyberpunk. Can't wait for Cyberpunk, and then even though I loved it, but it's just funny, like that was such a hype train.
I feel like the midnight releases have changed from like going there, getting the disc, running home in the cold, racing home in your car, and like putting the disc in and watching it install for 45 minutes. I think it changed to preloading it, getting on Xbox Party Chat with your friends or wherever, Discord, and then just waiting for it to unlock at like 9 p.m. my time.
Oh
or
yeah.
whatever.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
that's what it's turned into.
It's so convenient now. I told this story to dealer one time, but when I picked up Destiny, when Destiny first came out, the first one, I took the day off and I went down to GameStop to pick up my copy, and there was like 50 people in line or whatever. And I grabbed my copy and I walk out the door at the same time as this like 17 or 18-year-old kid. And I know it sounds rude, but I kind of have to paint the picture. He had really thick glasses and he had really bad acne that just really sucks. Like it's all over his face. And I was walking out with the game. This is like, because I was just kind of getting back into gaming, and I walk out with Destiny, and he's next to me, and he's got these big glasses on, and has got a lot of acne, and he's looking at the game like he just got a glamour shot of his girlfriend, like glamour shot picture print out.
Colt, where are you taking this?
He's like, Destiny, he was just so enamored with the game. And at first I thought, oh my gosh, that guy. And then I thought, oh man, he freaking loves video games so much. And that is so cool. And then he gets over and goes, Mom, are you ready? And she opens up the door to her Buick Century, and she drives him home. And I thought, oh man, gaming is freaking crazy, man.
And then he was looking at you the same way. Look at that nerd over there.
Nerd, look at this nerd over here looking at thee.
But the other part of the funny of the story that I think is funny about that is like he was looking at that game case like, oh my gosh, I've waited years for Destiny. And then I think of myself like 2 weeks later, I was like, man, I don't even like that game. That was such a letdown for me. I know people loved it, but I didn't. And I thought about that nerdy kid who was just like so hearts over his head about the game. And I wonder if he loved it just as much as me. But
Colt's that parent that goes to GameStop. He's like, my son's looking for this game. And that controller,
my son.
and
Yes.
this, and my kid just needs this. Then he goes home and plays it.
I've
That's
actually
cool.
talked to parents when they're like, Mom, I want this game. She goes, I don't know. Is it appropriate? And I'll lean over to the mom and go, no, there's a bunch of like nudity in it. And she's like, thank you. And the kid's
You're
like,
just
"What the
crushing
heck?"
kids' dreams. Colt.
Hey, Colt's wife, how do you know there's nudity in it? I don't know.
Hey,
Yeah.
let me let me finish these off, guys. 1,800 people still sitting here listening to Colt tell a story about how he lied to some kid's mom. I just again, thanks for watching. Hit the like button if you haven't. Subscribe, support these guys. I'll get to a few of these super chats, and thank you so much for what you do. Seriously, Cody, this might be Tim died, I think. Tim, are you still here?
No, I'm here. I
Okay.
spoke a lot, so
Well, I got a question for you because you might be most familiar with this, right? So, Cody, Justin, $10 super chat. He says he just wanted to know if any of us knew that if we'd be able to, I guess, convert 12 months live gold cards into Game Pass Ultimate while being a Game Pass Ultimate member.
No. So what will happen is when you do that, it'll prorate and it'll give you 8 months. So meaning, or whatever, it's going to prorate. So if you have a game card that's Game Pass for a year, it would be a year. But now if you do Xbox Live Gold for a year, what I believe it does is it takes the price of Xbox Live Gold, which is what, $60, and then applies it and prorates it, and you get like 6 months or whatever. So you can't. The only way they get you locked in is if you are not a Game Pass Ultimate members. So what they want you to do, what they want basically is for you, me, and everyone to pay $14.99 a month and then just leave them alone. They don't want us to get these deals on CD keys. And that's the lure in. We have to realize that Microsoft is a company that wants to make money. Yes, they are doing a lot for gamers, but in the end, they want to make money. So they want us to do the Netflix model, pay $15 a month, no keys, and that extends your your 200,000 gamer score, and that's the end of it. You get charged $15 a month, and at that time, when this is all said and done, you're getting Indiana Jones, you're getting Gear 6. You're getting, 4 AAAs, 5 AAAs a year. You're getting games that cult hates like Banjo. This is why they are pushing to buy more publishers because they want to do that. So here's the deal, though, to get about it. I know I'm a little long-winded. If you are willing to change your gamer tag and get that year gold, you could do that and then convert it for $1. You could do that. But you're going to lose your progression and all your achievements. So if you're in the case where you have an established gamer tag and you already converted to Ultimate, you are out of luck. If you are not, or if you're willing to start all over, you can do that. But if you're already involved and you want to keep your gamer tag, that's the only way you can do it. Once you're converted to Ultimate and you try to put like a game, like an Xbox Live Gold 12 months, it'll just convert it for the currency, which is, I think, 5 months.
You're going to see Fonz come up with 6 gamer score. What happened, Fonz? Nothing. Description ran out.
But you can do that. You can do that. It is the only way around. But they want everyone to be paying the $15 a month. And that's why I say 2021 is such a huge year. Because if you remember, they started this 3-year when people maxed out. When we got the idea, we maxed out, then converted. But that's going to end this year. So guess what? Me and my 60,000 gamer score or whatever, or a dealer in his 120,000 gamer score, if he wants to keep Xbox Live and Ultimate, which he's gonna have to pay $15 a month, and that's the end of it.
Hey, Ashtray's got a good question here. He says, "Hey dealer, I'm in a gaming slump at the moment. What is everyone playing? He needs suggestions." I've told you, Ashtray, you are really robbing yourself of a fantastic experience in Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh, he hasn't played it yet?
Jedi Fallen Order. Just learn the combat, man. You'll love it.
Yeah,
I downloaded it.
Figure out the parrying, which I went through half the game like not doing it properly. And then once it clicked, I was like, oh man, that would have been so much more helpful. Yeah, it's a great game.
And plus the locked 60 frames now, it's much more enjoyable. Yeah. I downloaded it again just to test it out on the Series X, and I was impressed. It looks good, it feels good. It's that's the problem when you have games that are updated, because you kind of like kick yourself and say, man, I could have waited for that, but but then you can't. It just sucks that these games are kind of getting updated and you go back to them and you're like, I wish I could have played it this way.
Yeah.
Well, let me read this final one or two off here. Dark CMF says $15 super chat. He says, just to say that Saboteur is one of the best games ever made. Wow, that's from Pandemic Studios, right? They made Mercenaries. Mercenaries, and he still plays it semi-regularly. That's impressive, Dark CMF.
Would you have it on PC? I wonder. He can't answer us right away, but I was thinking about buying on PC because it'll never go back and pat because that studio's
gone.
Back
and pat. No, it was a 360.
Yeah, it'll never be back and pat, but it is. I feel like half the people here probably haven't played it, but maybe have heard of it. But it has a lot of just cause in it. You destroy a lot of stuff that's red marked, that belongs to the enemy, and blow it up. And then, like Zocker said, like bringing color to Paris as you liberate a city and get the Nazi guards out of there. Like,
you fucking bitch. Hey, and then we've got Lord Starkiller. He says last midnight release was Battlefield 4. That was back in 2013 with the son at GameStop. Man, those are some memories though, man. Like going there and being a nerd next to Colt, and he got the guys with zits and. It's something you really probably won't experience too many more times in your life.
Fawn said I was basically simping for the ESRB for free out there, but
game blocking.
I mean, it really taught me a lesson, like because I was trying not to admit that I was like a video game guy for a long time. It's ridiculous. And now I'm like super happy that this hobby's amazing. And I was surrounded by people, like friends and coworkers that had nothing to do with gaming. And so there's like this stigma for D-Batch and I were talking about this last night on the party chat, which I have a real quick story to book in that. But D-Batch was saying like it is cool to be a gamer now. And it's amazing because gaming has never been better. It's just so immersive. And last night we were talking to a guy in the community named AP, and he said he was loving his One X, but he was hoping to get a new console, but he just can't find them. And while he was talking, D does what D-Batch does. He flips his phone and sees if there's stock. And he goes, dude, they're on Microsoft, on Xbox.com right now. And this AP guy went on his console and he's like, I'm going to go grab one. I go, no, dude, go to a PC because you're going to have to make sure you can secure this because it's up right now. And he goes, no, I'm going to do it. And I swear, like a minute later, he had secured the thing on his Xbox, got it, and it sent shipped, paid for it and everything. And he was like, I got it. Oh my gosh, I got it. And he was yelling, he's like, thank you, D. And he like started to, I know it's going to sound funny, but he started to tear up a little bit. Like he was so happy. And it was a moment that I thought was so freaking great because D-Batch has been working so hard to get people these consoles and these GPUs. They're so hard to find right now. He's been reaching out to people. He's been DMing Zocker trying to get it. And hearing this guy that freaking loves gaming and loves Xbox, he's going to buy PS5 when he can get through this purchase. And it was just a really cool moment. And I love that stuff, man. And I'm glad. I'm like so proud to be a total nerd. So that's my other story for the day.
Yeah, I gotta just to add to that. Yeah, I was so happy for him yesterday, man. He was ecstatic to say the least. And yeah, it's good to be a nerd because to be honest with you, you know, if you hung around me in my 20s, you would never have the slightest clue that I was a nerd. I'll just say that much. And
you hit it.
And over time, you know what? I said, you know
what? I've seen a picture of you.
Oh,
no, I'm just joking. I'm just joking, D.
Over time, I realized, you know what? This is a part of me. I love this, and I kind of made my business around it, and now I get paid for my tech stuff, for my gaming, for my PC building. I made it a living. My YouTube channel. It's not the biggest one in the world, but you know what? I have a lot of fun talking about the things that I love. And doing what I love. So yeah, man, gaming is so cool. It's at the forefront. Your top entertainers are proud to say they're gamers. They endorse stuff, and it's a great time. And like if you've been gaming as long as I've been gaming, I can tell you this: if I told a lot of people how hardcore of a gamer I was when I was 19 and 20, I would have got punched in the face several times. So it's a pretty cool thing, man.
Yeah, I agree about the gamer aspect, but I'm not celebrating or embracing that nerd aspect at all. Sorry, I'm not with you guys there.
You're still trying to hide it at your age?
I'm definitely hiding that.
That's funny.
Nah, man. I think nerds, you know what? All honesty, man, call me a nerd all you want. I'm gonna laugh all the way to the bank because nerds have intelligence and they got money. So
shit. D-Batch is starting to How to Get Ladies service.
You guys heard that about that 10-year-old boy who got written up in that New York Times article because he plays 40 hours of games a week, and his parents let the New York Times or the LA Times, one of those big newspapers, the journalist came to their house and interviewed the parents and the kid because he plays Xbox all the time, and they were like, he's going to grow up to be a loser, and the whole thing was about too much gaming right now during a global pandemic, and the gaming community was reaching out, and Seamus Blackley, the one who invented the Xbox, who is pretty active on Twitter, he got an Xbox Series S controller and had it autographed and wrote like "nerds to the end" because his statement was the nerds of the last generation are now rich, successful leaders. They're smart. They've cultivated. The stigma is long gone. It's a pretty cool.
What are we talking about here? We've gone off talking about nerds.
Well, you're making fun of
That's
nerds.
so strange stuff.
Fonz, why
No, I'm not
why you
making fun
launching
of
a war
him.
on nerds?
I'm not making fun of them, but I'm just telling you, like, it's just odd
Nerds!
conversation right now. Oh, jeez.
There's levels. Okay.
All right,
I-
Tim needs his minute fiber.
Tim is giving me a wedgie right now.
He gets so loud he cuts out completely.
I
So
love
funny.
it. I mean, there's still
I love
people
it
here
too.
watching. Those stories are, I don't know. I think they're funny and they're kind
It's
of
true,
interesting.
though.
But I'm a little upset that Fonz hides his nerddom. I'm gonna call
know
his
what it
work
is?
and expose him.
I'll have this to say that COVID, in a way, kind of normalized gamers in a way, because you had so many people that were stuck at home and were like, "What the hell can I do?" They've watched every Netflix show, and they turned to gaming, and that's older people too. And it's the society's like sheep. Once people go a certain way, it just goes that way. And I just feel
Of
like
course, but I
COVID
don't
pushed
equate.
it.
I don't equate every gamer as nerds. I just don't. There's
I know.
You know what it
there's
is,
different
but
breeds there.
I agree. But I had
But the
faith-
thing is, like, you're right though about gamers, because the average gamer is like 34 years old. I mean,
Right.
all these gamers are older.
But I could just
that's
tell
not a
you
big-
though, yeah, but I could just tell you through peers, and me and you were about the same age. I was ridiculed as being that 40-year-old gamer, like, hey, you on an Xbox Live tonight? Like, those are my friends, like, at work, like, you know, like, and like, you know, they make fun of you and stuff like
Oh,
that,
man.
you know, but there was that stigma, and I kind of feel like it's kind of went away, like, you
Oh,
know,
A lot of it has, because
you know,
you'll be
which is
still
good.
surprised. Like back in the day, I used to be kind of quiet about it. You know, if I went to any kind of GameStops or anything, you know, back in the day, I did pull that before soccer when I was younger. I'd be like, oh, it's for my son. But as time went on,
Yeah,
you
but-
just saw more older people there, and you just get to talking with these guys, and you're like, oh yeah, they're gamers. Or even at work, you know, you talk to people, coworkers, and it comes out, yeah, they're gamers too.
Oh, I mean,
Lethal. Fonz has 2 pocket protectors.
5 or 6 years ago, I was talking about a video game. My friend was like, "Oh yeah, I used to play video games back when I had time. You know, that Mario game was really great." And I thought, because I'm kind of like, I play like the action style movie type games, not platformers like Banjo-Kazooie. So I was like thinking to myself, I'm like, it's not really what video gaming is, but I'm not even going to try and explain it to you. But we all live in a world where people will look at you side eye and say, you know, you waste your time playing video games. They may say it a lot nicer than that, but we know that they're at home binge watching some show on Netflix like for 6 hours a night.
Bro,
And
I
everybody has their thing. And
I just
like,
did it. Like, honestly, growing up, I didn't give a shit. I didn't care what people thought. I took a girlfriend to freaking the midnight release of Gears. And she was like, "Where are we going?" I was like, "I'm getting a fucking video game that I want to play." I didn't care.
You know,
And she
Zucker,
was
you
like-
brought up.
Once again, we're reminded why Zocker has that horseshoe.
I just
you
don't
brought
care.
up Warcraft earlier. I used to raid with a guy that was 68 years old. 60 freaking 8.
Which
bro.
dumpster did you guys raid in?
yeah, I was
It was called Dealer's Gaming Channel.
Yes.
With
Fonz has like 2
Finally.
armfuls of toilet paper. And he's like, "We're gonna go
We're
TP,
just
old
listening to
man."
story time.
but we
We're
would
just listening
tell
to
them all
story
the
time
time.
here with the panel. Chat. Just
Yeah, we'd be, you know, we used to
Gotta
tell them
get
all the
the
time.
ladies
We'll be
there.
there too in our 60s gaming. I mean, it's just that, you know, at this point, it's like I've always been a gamer. I'm going to continue since
Brandon
82.
Bryce in the chat said Zocker is revolutionizing the dating game. We're getting
Dude.
Gears, baby.
I didn't give a shit. I went to like comic book shops and they're like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "Getting comic
Oh
books. I don't care.
Gosh.
You got a problem. You got a problem. Fucking weird." I don't know. I didn't like. Some people tried making fun of it, but I'm like, I don't care. Like, I played the one game I got made fun of was StarCraft. That was it. Because everybody's like, "You just what's that?" And I'm like, whatever. Like, I'm gonna play it. Like,
Yeah,
I
try
just-
to explain StarCraft and sound like
No,
you're
exactly. And I
super
can't
macho,
explain. They're
right?
like, "What is it?" I'm like, "You make armies and you fight. There you go. Like, that's all."
But
Like,
it's in galactic land with laser.
Hey, I
beams.
need victims. I mean, people to fight against it in fight night. So message me at II space II space
Hit up
dealer
King's
space
Blood.
II, and we can jump in a party and box and get a good group of guys, you know, having some competition. That'd be fun. Fight night champion is amazing back in Pat, and thank you guys for joining us. Seriously, Tim's gonna bash someone's skull in with a brick. Yeah, he's yelling in the background. He's
David
hungry.
said
He
Zocker's
wants his
singing the
Oreos.
Halo- David said Zocker's singing the Halo song on a date.
I'm playing it in the cars I'm driving. What's
Yeah,
this?
he's
I'm like,
driving.
Master Chief saving the fucking world. What do you know?
Listen to the next track. He
Do you
fights
want
the
us to-
flood.
Do you want us to sign out, dealer? Or?
Hey, yeah. So,
Oh, man.
hang on. I got AJ Harris.
Thumbs-
Yeah, watch out for the house. Yeah. I got 2
Thumbs up
Series
if you want
S's.
the.
What are you
thumbs up
saying,
if you
Cole?
want dealer to just leave.
Yeah.
Thumbs up if you want dealer to leave and let us
Yeah,
stay
yeah,
here
yeah.
and talk Stellies. No, I'm just
So,
kidding.
Davari, yeah, we was talking to him last week. He says he got 2 Series S's and a Series X because of D's tweets. Yes, this is why I put him in my video. I knew that D is on this stuff, man. So I wasn't kidding. Lord Starkiller, he says, thanks again
Nerd.
for D's guidance on getting my Series X. Gaming is so amazing. Tim's a fucking nerd. Why did you put that in your super chat? And then Dark
love
CMF, he says, Saboteur on Xbox 360. My wife sent it to me for Christmas while I was in Afghanistan. Man, shout out to you, man.
Awesome.
We had 82 360s and a LAN. Holy crap. That's
They didn't even need a heater in that.
yeah. I mean, you didn't need a heater.
All of them went red ringed at the same time.
Oh my
Damn,
God.
Patrick was right. They had a console for them.
AJ Harris says confirmed. Tim Dong was bullied by J Dub in high school. Lord
Yes.
Starkiller again says I've been gaming since my early teens, 47 years ago. Still love gaming. Yes, shout out to you, brother. Keep it up. And then we've got Redbeard Gamer. Shout out to you. He says I work in a shop with elder dudes, and they make fun of me for spending money on gaming. But then they turn around. So they've seen the light. So you're saying they turn around and drop 10,000 on snowmobiles. So they make fun of you for wasting money on gaming, and then spend $10,000 on these snowmobiles covered in gold. What kind of snowmobiles
They
are these?
live in like Antarctica. Like they need them.
Better be
There's
covered
some
in.
cool stories dropping in the
I don't
chat
know. You
too.
can have some fun on this. No
Stephen White said being a gamer paid off in the Navy. My Xbox was popular while deployed for several months. Like that's just cool thinking about that. Like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. Keep seriously, means a lot. You guys show up and do what you do. We are gonna go ahead and jump out of here. We're gonna do more of this kind of personal stuff, maybe here and there. And just kind of banter at the end of the shows. But seriously, it takes you guys to power the show. Thank you. Hit the like button if you haven't subscribed. Support these guys on the panel. I'm gonna give you their information here in a second. And again, shout out to D-Batch for hooking everybody up with PlayStations and Xboxes. I think he's just really giving you guys his scalped Xboxes and PlayStations. But who knows?
That's what it is.
Speaking of D-Batch, brother.
Only.
Speaking of D-Batch, 1,500 people still here. D, tell them where they can find you and what have you been playing?
You can find me at D_Batch on Twitter, on YouTube at D_Batch. I've just been playing Call of Duty. I play a lot of Call of Duty. Last night's playing Hive Busters while I was Gears Hive Busters while I was on the party chat with you guys. I've just been building a lot of rigs. It's a really busy time for me right now, so I don't have as much time as I'd like to dedicate to games at this moment. But I will be trying out the medium, so I'll have some footage of the Series X on my channel later this week when it comes out. As well, I'm gonna give it a test run on the PC and kind of see where they lie in the versions. I am really interested to see this game on the Xbox Series X though, and this is another reason why Game Pass is awesome, because I have Game Pass Ultimate, so I can play it on my PC, I can play it on my Series X, I can seamlessly, carry over my last save or where I was in the game on either devices, and just Game Pass is awesome, man.
Okay, and then we've also got Cold Eastwood. Tell people where they can find you and what have you been playing?
I'm trying to finish Valhalla, so I'm just kind of committed to that. I'm almost done. I'm on the last hour maybe. And then I want to try out Medium. So yeah, you can find me at Cold Eastwood at YouTube and Twitter, and telling embarrassing stories about how I ruined some kid's childhood on RDX podcast.
Someone's gonna send you a Twitter.
I'm not kidding. There's
That
probably
was
2 or
me.
3 kids that did not get GTA that afternoon because
They
of
got
me.
game blocked by Colt. Yeah.
Yeah, they had to go. They had to get Roblox is what they got. So
Game
Dude, they
Boxer
grew up
Eastwood.
to dislike your channel. I hope you know that.
I mean, who doesn't?
Hey, if
But
anybody
really
knows,
fun, thank you.
anybody out there at all knows why NBA 2K21 is shutting down like that game, Kid Smooth and I I mean, we did surgery on a Series X just today. Like, I couldn't get his box to stay on past a quarter or two, and his is way worse than anyone else's I've seen. But I've seen multiple boxes crash, Colts included, for NBA 2K21. If you guys know what that might be related to, please message me on Twitter, Xbox, or leave a comment.
I think it has something to do with the quick resume. I'm noticing some of the games that are stuck there in the quick resume. Some of my other games, when I'm trying to pop it up, they will kind of like flash out.
No, it's just that game at certain points, like when it goes to a timeout or halftime routine, the box just shuts off on me. Yeah, it's something they better fix.
Yeah, that needs an update pronto. Shit.
We've also got Fonzarelli, the Grounded Gamer. Tell people where they can find you and what have you been playing, bro?
Yeah, haven't played much. I'm looking forward to trying the medium. I tried to get back into some older titles that I heard that was really good, and I downloaded them and I tried them, and unfortunately they're 30 frames per second, and they some of them are giving me a headache, literally. I mean, when I'm panning the camera and I see all that stutter, it's just like, whoa. I can't do 30 frames anymore, so I'm kind of stuck. So I hope the medium doesn't do that to me. I'm going to give it a try though. It's got a fixed camera angle, so hopefully that helps. But I'm waiting for that next big 60 frame game personally. But yeah, you can find me on Twitter at jfonzarelli or the Grounded Gamer. You can find me there. And here on YouTube as well. Haven't made a video in forever though. But yeah, you can find me here every Tuesday. I'll be here.
Shout out to Automatic too. Yeah, I'll definitely keep the videos coming, man. I told you guys this time I'm definitely back and things are a little bit more consistent. So we've also got Tim Dog, xCloud Tim Dog. Tell people where they can find you, man, and what have you been playing?
I've been playing. You can find me at xCloud Tim Dog on Twitter. You can also hear me Sunday nights. I'm on another podcast, TXR. Always here Tuesdays 8 p.m. I've been playing Yakuza. I am on chapter 4, but I am running into a part where I have to grind, and I don't like to grind. So I'm gonna keep going with this game because I do love it, but definitely on the grind. I have to get armor. I have to get armor for all my members and that type of stuff. One thing I'd like to note is I secured a Xbox Series X. It was on GameStop, so I had to get some bundle deal. And one of the things that I have is a Valhalla gift card, which I'm going to donate to this podcast. So we shall have some type of. I'm going to give it to dealer, and we could pick somebody or figure out how we could do that. I will be donating that. So other than that, I'm just trying to get through this tough time. With all the shit going on. Looks like there's a little light at the end of the tunnel. A couple of Xbox community members came down with COVID. I will not name their names, but pretty scary stuff, especially if you're older 40 and you're not in the best of shape. You got to really watch yourself. But on that front, they seem to be doing well, seem to be getting back. Maybe one day we have them on and we'll talk about it. But other than that, just happy to be here, and like I said, I will have a Valhalla card probably in the next 2 weeks.
Awesome. Everybody give Tim a thumbs up, and again, be sure and follow Tim. Tim is always having a good time on Twitter. Actually, here lately, you've been kind of chill. Huh? You've been a little...
Yeah, you know what? I go on... I go on, I mean, with the Xbox Live thing was really bad. There's no defending that. Shout out to everyone on this panel. I think everyone was like... Grounded was Fonz was really going crazy, which is good. And listen, I didn't think I kind of left Twitter that day and said, you know what, this is a bad one. This is tone deaf, and I didn't think they were going to change it. So for them to change it, I was very happy with the Xbox community. I mean, even the Sony community, which put pressure on it, they helped us too because the optics on that were very bad. And then
that's the difference, though, Tim. They don't speak up on the $70 games.
They do not. Well, listen, $70 game for The Last of Us 2 or 3, that's fine, I would think. But, Returnal, Returnal is, they're saying they're going to be AAA. I doubt it.
Destruction All Stars was going to be $70.
It's not just that, Tim. All the games got a 17% price hike. I bought Sackboy Adventure. Fonz loves it when I say that. That game is supposed to be a $40 game.
$60, right?
It's $40 on PS4 and it's $50 on what's $60? It was $10 more than it should be, because of the price hike that goes across all of their games. And then, of course, PlayStation's huge, so 2K will follow suit, Activision will follow suit, and then more and more studios will follow suit. It's a crappy thing.
Just so you know, I'm hearing Xbox is not looking to raise the prices. The prices of games, they're looking to get you in Game Pass, as we discussed. So the prices are still going to be $60 from all indications and all the things they've asked. So just to pass that along. But great show tonight. We could have had Ricari talk a little bit more. We lost him at the end, but he's a great panelist, or he's a great just somebody to have on the podcast. And thanks for him for coming along.
Yeah, Ricari's awesome. Shout out to Ricari. Follow him at Rikizzle. Good luck spelling that on Twitter. We've also got to give a shout out to Michael Monkey Punch. I played some State of Decay with him today. Got to give a shout out to new channel member as well. And there's 2 super chats I think I missed. I'll get to those. Majesty Williams, shout out to you for becoming a channel member. Appreciate it. I've also got a comment from the Glitch Doctor. He says, fun fact, did you know that Clobriel, okay, apparently we don't pronounce that right, is the German word for toilet seat. A perfect fitting name for a well-known leaker. Oh, come on. I don't know if that's an insult or a joke. Shout out to Clobriel. He's definitely one of
we've all pronounced it Clobriel.
Mm-hmm. Sycamore, he says, Tim Dog, what's up with the Xbox app? It's frustrating to use. It's not functional anymore.
I don't know. I don't know what some of that stuff. It's like the DVR stuff. It's only they just leave it, and I don't know. They lost everything on the new app, and I've heard they're going to look into it, but I don't know.
And
they're going to get more
don't
people on that.
Refresh properly some of the time. Last time I used it, it was working fine, but you can't access your achievement progress on the app anymore. It's like, man, they should just left it. The last one was just great. The last version.
Chinook guy, he says, what future game will utilize all the features of Series X? We don't know. There's no way to know. There's a few that use VRS right now. None of them use Velocity that I'm aware of to its maximum bandwidth or anything like that. Ray tracing's pretty rare, so yeah, we're far out. RDX Son of Fett says, I can't believe a YouTuber that buys 6 next-gen consoles and still whines about scalpers. That depends on what you're talking about, and that depends on if he gave those to people that couldn't afford them or couldn't get them. Also, Bernard, PS5 SDK come out months earlier because Microsoft had to wait for, all of those features. Great show, guys. Thank you so much, sir. And then, Chiefment, Shadow Duty says, we got all the bangers tonight. Just missing Rand. Love hearing all he goes. Different takes on the same stories. Keep the good work. Thank you so much, sir. Do appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Thank you. Zalker, did I get you? Where can people find you, man? And what have you been playing?
People can find me on Twitter at Zalker87, YouTube Zalker87, and I've been playing a crap ton of games. I beat X-Morph Defense, which was awesome. I beat Xenoforce, which was on Game Pass, which I really enjoyed. I've been playing Torchlight 3. I beat Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, the campaign, really a lot of fun, and I'm like one more achievement away from getting all the zombie achievements. And I'm waiting for the Immortals Phoenix Rising DLC that's going to drop this week. I'm going to go through that. And I'm also playing the Telltale game for Batman and just kind of mudging through that, going through like a chapter a week or something. Just having fun with that too. So I've been playing a shit ton of games, and I've also been playing Rocket League Ranked and Doom Eternal on my PC. So I've been fucking going crazy. I have like over 2,000 something achievement points, and it's like pretty big game. So a lot of fun. And chat, you guys are the best. Thanks for listening to our stories. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. Getting to know us a little bit more is it's great. It's always good. And opening up to you guys is of course something that we want to do. So yeah.
Seriously. Great show, great panel, phenomenal chat, guys. Again, let us know your thoughts. Tell a buddy or two. And support these guys on the panel. It means a lot. We are out.
Hey, everybody.
Tell your grandma.
Falco's a fraud.
Oh.